A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. K is for Kroger, C is for cut, B is for beef. KCB means Kroger cut beef, and Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. It's a fact, ladies, and here's the reason Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste. Before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Yes, that's before the meat is weighed and priced, so you can see that means more meat for your money. You get top U.S. government grades of beef, meat that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. You get a better value in top-grade beef. For example, when you buy a Kroger-cut porterhouse steak, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes the long, stringy end and excess waste before the steak is weighed and priced. You don't pay steak price for stringy meat and excess waste. So remember, whether you buy a steak or a roast, you receive more meat, less waste. But see for yourself. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store. Make it a rule to buy Kroger-cut beef and get more meat for your money. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Penny Gibbs is a strong-willed person, but young Dr. Joel Evans is stronger still. To all appearances, Penny is falling in love with him in spite of her determination not to. And it's Joel's insistence that is breaking her down. But love is forced into the background for Penny today, for she's busy at home with plans for the opening of the community center. And in another part of town, in the home of young Windy Day, young Hazel Peters is struggling with her part of the opening day ceremonies. Hazel says,
Windy, when I make my speech, do I address Penny or the mayor first?
Gosh, Hazel, I don't know. I've never made a speech.
Well, you're going to make one, so you better find out for yourself as well as for me.
Oh, you're not getting me to make any speech.
You'll do it for Penny, won't you?
No.
You'll do it for Penny, won't you, Windy?
I wouldn't make a speech for the...
Windy.
Well, all right. But short.
Oh, that's better. Have you decided what it'll be?
No, I'm just going to get up and talk, I guess.
Oh, no, you're not. You're going to write something and submit it to the committee.
Well, I don't have time to write anything. I'm busy.
Oh, with what?
This. Look.
Oh, jeepers, Windy, not another invention.
Isn't it a beaut?
Yes, it's a beaut, all right, but what else is it?
Oh, I don't know. It just fell together like this. I don't know what kind of an invention it is yet.
It fell together. Looks more as if it fell apart.
It is a kind of a funny-looking thing, isn't it? But look at the way the wheels turn in all different directions. I bet it'll do something that's never been done before.
You'd better not do what your last invention did, or I'm going to get out of here when I'm still alive.
Oh, it didn't hurt anything when it blew up, Hazel.
That's because you threw it out the window just in time. Oh. The people next door said they thought the whole town had exploded.
You know something, Hazel?
What?
Maybe I had something there even better than the atom bomb. Oh. I think I'll try it again.
Oh, no, you won't, Windy Day.
Oh, Hazel, don't be like that. There never would have been any great discoveries if inventors' wives didn't let them try things.
I want you to live so I can be your wife.
Oh, Hazel.
Now, look, you invent that big noise again, and I'll make you take my cousin Hester to the prom.
Okay. Okay, you win.
Don't let me catch you working on it when I'm not around.
Yes, dear.
Now you sound like my Uncle Henry. Poor Uncle Henry. Well, look, we've wasted enough time with your silly old inventions.
Call my inventions silly if you want to. But someday I'm going to invent something that'll buy you a Cadillac and a mink coat.
Windy, will you really?
2 Cadillacs and 2 mink coats.
Oh, Windy, if you'll do that, I'll let you invent to your heart's content.
Swell. I'll get right to work on that explosion.
No, not that. Anything but that.
I was only kidding.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to take this thing apart and see what makes the wheels do such funny things.
No, you're not. You're going to help me with my speech for the opening of the community center.
Oh, Hazel, can't you get somebody else to help you?
You're going to help me with my speech, and I'm going to help you with yours. Now put that silly-looking gadget away and listen.
Okay. And they say this is a man's world. I'm listening.
Well, this is what I've written for my speech so far.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Miss Gibbs, members of the committee, citizens, and young people of Rossville. On this auspicious occasion... Wendy, how do you spell auspicious?
I don't know. Well, but it doesn't matter how you spell it, does it? You're just going to say it.
Well, yes, but I have to hand my speech into the committee. Well, I'll look that up later.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Miss Gibbs, members... Wendy, will you put that silly-looking contraction away?
Hazel, I've heard all this before.
Well, put your invention away, and I'll read you what you haven't heard.
I was afraid of that. Okay, read on.
On this auspicious occasion, it is my great... Wendy, how do you spell occasion? With one C and two S's or two C's and one S?
What is this, a reading or a spelling match? I don't know.
Oh, you just don't care. I'm going to get somebody else to help me with my speech.
I think that's a good idea.
I wonder what my speech should be about. Or about Penny or Barry? Or just about the sentence?
I don't know.
I wonder if Penny could help me.
Hey, that's a good idea. Let's go over and see Penny.
All right.
All right, come on, let's go. I got my cycle warmed up and ready.
Wendy.
Well, come on, don't stand there. You want Penny to help you with your speech? Let's get her to help.
It's rather obvious you want to go to Penny's house.
Well, don't you? I'm just anxious for you to get help with your speech.
Well, yes, of course I want to go, but I'm not falling over my own feet to get there. Now, let me tell you something, Wendy Day. You can be a philanderer and break my heart if you want to, but you're not going to break up Penny's newfound happiness.
What?
I just won't allow it. Hello, Penny.
Oh, hello, Hazel. Hello, Wendy. Come on in.
Hi, Penny.
Wendy, Day, what's the matter with you? You look as if you lost your last friend.
Oh, I just got a little woman trouble, that's all.
Oh, Hazel, have you and Wendy had a fight?
Oh, no, Penny. Just a little understanding.
Yeah, which I understand. A little.
Wendy, cheer up. It isn't that bad.
Oh, he'll get over it.
Hold out there, Penny. Is a messenger from my office?
Oh, no, Jed, it's just Hazel and Wendy.
Oh, well, where's that messenger?
I'll phone the office again and see if he's on his way.
Well, he'd better be.
Penny, could I go in and talk to Mr. Billings for a few minutes?
Well, yes, Hazel, of course. Go right in.
Thanks. Wendy, you keep Penny company while I talk to Mr. Billings.
Huh? I can?
Oh, it's the polite thing to do, isn't it?
Oh, sure. I'll wait in the living room while you make your call, Penny. Is that all right?
Yes, Wendy, go right in and sit down. I'll be with you in a minute.
Hello, Mr. Billings. You remember me, don't you?
Why, yes, Hazel. Come in, child.
Oh, thanks.
But forgive the looks of my room. I'm working on some new house plans.
Oh, it must be just super to build houses.
It's just like anything else when you know how, Hazel. Sit down.
I didn't know that you were working. I don't want to interrupt anything.
You're not interrupting anything. I can't work again till that slow messenger of mine gets here from the office. To what do I owe this visit?
Well, I'm writing a speech to give the opening of the community center.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like your advice.
Well, I'm not much of a speech maker, child. But I'm a speech listener. And the best advice I can give you is to make it short.
Very short, Mr. Billings?
Well, I might put it this way. There's no question about it. Life is short. It's long speeches that make it seem to drag on forever. But that's not helping you with the content of your address, is it?
Well, I'd like to know what's best to talk about. Now, I thought that maybe Penny would be the best subject.
Well, I think you ought to mention Penny, but actually it's not Penny, but the center that's the most important thing.
But it wouldn't embarrass Penny if I talked about her. I mean, just a little bit, would it?
No, I don't think so. Providing you don't couch your praises in flowery terms. Down-to-earth language in a speech is as important as brevity, I'd say.
Yes, the messenger left your office 10 minutes ago. He should be here in a little while.
Oh, thanks, Penny. But the way that boy moves, I'll be surprised if he shows up by noon tomorrow.
Oh, Jed. I'll wait for him and let him in. I think he'll be here soon.
Oh.
Are you going somewhere, Penny?
Oh, yes, Hazel. I have an appointment with Mrs. Carlton.
Penny? I wonder if... No, I guess you wouldn't.
You wonder what, darling?
I wonder if Mrs. Carlton wouldn't give me some information for my speech. Would she?
I don't know why not.
Well, would you ask her? It would be just stupid to talk to her about it.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Hazel. I'm seeing her this afternoon for about an hour, and I'll ask her if she'll talk to you and then phone you.
Oh, good. Seems to me that you'll be able to see her sometime this afternoon or this evening.
You want to talk to me about a speech you're making at the opening. Is that right, Hazel?
Yes, Mrs. Carlton. I need some help, and I thought...
I'll give you all the help I can. But by the way, what was that horrible noise on the grounds just as you arrived?
Oh, that was Wendy's motorcycle. I told him to make it be quiet, but he said there was just nothing he could do about it.
Good heavens. What will you young people come to next?
Oh.
But I suppose riding a motorcycle today is no worse than the fast horses I rode when I was a girl. What kind of speech are you making at the opening, my child?
A short one, first of all. Mr. Billings says that the short ones are best.
And I agree.
But what I want from you is something that I can say about Barry. I'd just love to have his own mother tell me what she once said about him.
You want to talk about Barry, do you?
Yes, I do.
That's thoughtful, Hazel. I know the things you could say, but I prefer that you wouldn't say them.
Oh, why not?
Because, what can you say? He was good, he was bad, he was young, and he died. He was a person, and now he is nothing anymore. No, my child, your speech should not be about a person who has passed on, but about the persons who live.
Oh, about you and about Penny.
No, not about us. Talk about the boys and girls who will walk through the open door of a place built to the memory of a man who was himself once a boy.
Oh, that's good, Mrs. Carlton. May I say something like that?
You may say something like that. And you may say, too, that as long as one boy or girl can reap the benefit of Rossville's community center, Barry Carlton will live on. For this is something he has given after death that he would have given 100 times over had he remained on earth.
May I say that it's you who gave the money for the center? Mrs. Carlton, may I please say that?
Well, if you will say it in terms such as this, that this is a gift from one Rossville mother to all the mothers of Rossville, given in the memory of her child toward the everlasting happiness of their children.
Well, Hazel Peters has ample material for her speech. With the community center soon to open, what unforeseen complications lie ahead for Penny Gibbs? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. KCB. KCB. KCB means Kroger cut beef, and Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. Yes, Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste. Because before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. In buying Kroger cut rib roast, for example, you don't pay rib roast price for excess bone and waste. The chine bone is trimmed, the waist and short rib end removed, giving you top U.S. government grades of beef that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. And before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, waste, and stringy ends. Remember, whether you buy a steak or roast, Kroger cut beef gives you more meat for your money. But mind you can get Kroger cut beef only at your neighborhood Kroger store. So go there as soon as you can. Step up to the meat counter and ask for Kroger cut beef. You'll get delicious and juicy and tender beef. And you'll get more meat, less waste. That means you get more meat for your money at your Kroger store. Listen again tomorrow. Same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
This is Nightline, your tie line to the world, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Tonight, a visit to worlds strangely different from ours, the world of the future, the world of X-1. Now, here is the future, X-1.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Shock Troop. But first, hear this. Saturday, November 30th, an overflow crowd is expected to jam Municipal Stadium in Philadelphia for the 58th contest in a series that each year brings to a climax the greatest rivalry in college football. Saturday, November 30th, Army versus Navy. And you have a seat on the 50-yard line as Monitor brings you the gridiron. Mel Allen and Al Helfer will describe all the action, the excitement, the color of the game, as Army pits its bruising running attack against Navy's rugged defense and expert passing. You and your family won't want to miss the big Army-Navy football game, Saturday, November 30th, on Monitor. And you'll want to stay with Monitor for a weekend of sparkling and diversified entertainment. Celebrities, music, features, news, and sports. They're all on Monitor all weekend long. So start your weekend right with Monitor on Friday night and stay with Monitor all weekend long over most of these same NBC radio stations. And now, X-1 and tonight's story, Shock Troop. In all his 7 major campaigns, Commander Zeram Lassen had never faced anything like this. First, there was the heat, agonizing, insufferable heat. Then there were the jolts, the convulsions. But most unbearable of all was the cross pulse, the interminable, monotonous thump-thump of the cross pulse.
Come in. Hello, Perak. Close the bulkhead. This heat's driving me mad.
Zeram, I think we ought to abandon this project.
Abandon?
As chief psychotechnician, I recommend it.
Oh? On what do you base this?
This macroorganism is unlike anything we've ever tried to colonize before. It's much too complicated.
Complicated? Perak, I have colonized life forms on 7 other worlds, and each time I've been advised to turn back.
I know your record, Zeram, but this creature is different.
How?
Well, for one thing, it has a highly organized psychoelectric system. The shock waves are fantastic. I've already lost 3 technicians.
These are shock troops. They know the risk.
And for another
Perak,
thing...
You're a fine scientist, but you're no leader of troops. This creature we've invaded will be subdued and brought under positive permanent control. We will achieve thermobiological conditioning to reduce the heat. We will achieve damping to muffle the crossbeat. And we will establish neuromuscular controls. And we will do all these things because I say we will. Now come along. We'll inspect the tunnels. Ready?
Yes. I'll open the bulkhead.
Feel that heat.
Well, the thermo crews are doing everything they can to pull oxygen from the separators.
Tell them to work faster. What's the status of the control panel?
I'll see. Mandor. Sir? What's the status of the control panel?
Well, we've tapped into motor fibers 1 through 46, Chief. We'll be ready for the central selector hookup very soon.
What about optical auditory intercept?
We're still trying to tap into the subject's visual system, Commander. The screens are set up, but we haven't been able to run a line from the main circuit.
Why not?
The charge in the main trunks is too potent, sir. Our instruments won't take the surges of current.
Then install transformers or resistances. Now get it down.
But, sir, 2 crews working in this heat with that noise.
I don't care about the heat or the noise. It is absolutely essential that we hook up visual intercept. I want you to...
Convulsions.
Hit the stanchions. Hang on.
It's past.
I've never seen them quite this bad. What do you suppose causes them?
I don't know. I suspect they're reflex actions.
Sir?
What?
Do you suppose this creature knows we're inside it?
Ceaselessly, the shock troops worked inside the host creature, burrowing through capillaries, tapping into nerves, trying desperately to intercept the intelligence and sensations so they might bring it under control. Oxygen was pulled from the separators to cool the tunnels where Commander Lassen's troops worked.
Yes?
Sir, we phased the interpretive feedback. We're ready to try for an image on the visual screen.
Excellent.
What about vocal auditory?
Completely phased. We haven't broken the speech code yet, but all sounds are clearly audible.
Blast that crossbeat. Can't the crews do something to muffle it?
We're trying. We don't dare go into the main arteries, not yet at least.
Have they calcified?
They're trying, Zerine. We've got calcification crews working like demons, trying to harden the central blood vessels.
Very well. Lieutenant, is the screen ready?
Yes, sir. Does the commander wish to monitor himself?
Yes. These are standard controls, I assume?
Yes, sir. Focus is this knob. Brightness control is at the right.
Very good. Now, switch on, and we'll see if we can see what this creature sees. A little more focus.
Something's coming through.
It isn't a clear enough image. Bring up the contrast. There.
Well?
It appears that our host is in an enclosed space of some sort. From the orderly flow of articles across the screen, I would say it was moving aimlessly. As an item for resting on, it appears. In the background, a blurred pattern of light and dark stripes. Now, let's hear the auditory reception. You may as well get the decoding section working on it.
I'll switch it on, sir. The creature doesn't seem to be vocalizing.
Now, what's the noise?
I believe that's a respiratory sound, sir, made by the creature's oxygen plant.
Well, try to eliminate it. Filter it out.
Yes, sir.
Doc, I tell you, I'm sick.
It's vocalizing.
I'm not... I'm not trying to pull anything, Doc. There's something wrong inside me. Honest. Doc, please.
Try to break down the pattern. I want to know what the creature is communicating.
Yes, sir.
Well, Parrock, do you still think we should turn back?
We've tapped into the creature's communication system, Zerim. I think controlling it is going to be another matter.
We'll return to X-1 and Shock Troop in just a moment. But first... Now back to X-1 and Shock Troop.
Inside the subject, the work continued hour after hour, day after day. Inside the control room, Commander Lassen was haggard and weary. Outside, the crews labored in the tunnels, calcifying blood vessels, tapping into sensory nerves, tying circuits across sympathetic nerve fibers, and still no positive control.
Zerim?
Oh, Parrock. What's happening?
Well, we're making slow progress, Zerim. Between the heat and the cross pulse, the men are beginning to crack up. They need a rest.
Anyone caught loafing on the job will be fed into the disposal units. Those are my orders.
Isn't that a bit hard?
Are you questioning my authority?
Yes, I think you've been working too hard.
I'll have you... Listen.
What?
The silence. They've done it. Modification section is muffled to crossbeat.
You're right.
What a relief. Come on, let's try the audiovisual again. Maybe we'll be able to hear something now.
There's a picture coming in.
It's the same picture. Blurry, barred pattern. Objects for sitting and reclining. Switch on the auditory.
Right. It's vocalizing.
Listen.
I guess I didn't. It happened all of a sudden. This pain in my heart. Make it slow down. I'm sick. There's something wrong with me.
If only decoding would crack the speech pattern so we knew what it was saying.
There seems to be another macroorganism in the room with it. Dressed in white, it seems.
Yes, I see.
I'm not faking, Doctor. You gotta do something.
I want the speech pattern given number one priority. No time for... That's condition red.
Commander, the vein is ruptured in Tunnel C. There's a leukocyte breakthrough.
Get the guns. I want a coagulant crew in there at once.
There are hundreds of the monsters, Commander. Shall we seal off the tunnel?
And lose weeks of calcifying? Come on, we'll try to coagulate.
The commander joined the rush of frenzied emergency troops rushing into the corridor. Ahead, crews were lugging hand sterilizers and broad-spectrum coagulators. Inside the tunnel, the scene was bedlam. There was a break in the wall, hemorrhaging profusely. Crewmen waded knee-deep in the nauseous sea of thrombin. Red corpuscles knocked them off balance. Every so often, a sickening gray leukocyte would rear up and embrace a crewman in a grip of acid death.
We'll have to retreat. The thrombin's rising. Lieutenant, give the order to fall back and seal off the tunnel.
Yes, sir.
Fall back! Seal the tube! Fall back!
The struggle continued. New tunnels were formed. More nerves tied into central control. Veins and arteries calcified. The heat reduced to a livable temperature. Slowly, the morale of the shock troops inched higher, and Commander Lassen relaxed and grew more amiable.
Well, Derek, ready for the big event?
Yes, my crew is standing by.
Good. We'll try an auditory visual intercept first, and then we'll attempt to control a few responses.
We've tapped into the creature's hearing circuit now so that we can hear what it hears as well as what it says.
Excellent. Switch on the screen. It's coming in now. The creature is still in the same room, alone, evidently. Yeah, it seems to be writing a message of some sort. Oh, wait. It's talking.
My appeal was turned down, and this is it.
Now, let's try a motor response. Lieutenant Mander.
Sir?
Which circuit controls the organism's right extremity?
This one, sir.
Are all circuits properly insulated against electrical surge?
Up to 1 million dymarks, Commander.
Well, we've never encountered anything higher. That should be safe enough. And here goes. I'll try a simple contraction. It worked! The right limb contracted. Perrick, it worked. We've established control.
You're to be congratulated, Commander.
Thank you. Switch on auditory visual again. Yeah. The creature is still writing.
Actually, I don't mind too much. The doctors have discovered that I have a serious condition of the blood vessels and heart. They call it sclerosis. And I've been feeling awful lately. So I'm not too afraid of what's coming. I'll think of you. Think of me. Love, Sam.
message is concluded. Let's try another motor response. I'm going to manipulate the creature's legs now to make it locomote toward the barred pattern. Ready?
Ready, sir.
It's moving. Excellent, excellent. Parrot, have the crews clean up the remaining circuits. Make absolutely certain that the electrical hazard is reduced to a minimum. I can't afford to lose any more troops. Now, what about the speech code?
Decoding thinks they may break it any moment now.
I'll keep them working. Give the troops extra rations and pay and commend them for a good job. If all goes well, we'll send for colonists within a week.
Exactly 1 week later, Commander Lassen, seated in a compartment that was now fully air-conditioned, silent, and filled with soft Galvaresian music, radioed to the Commissioner of Colonization.
So everything is ready. With the exception of the speech code, we have complete primary control of all circuits. We'll expect first 10,000 colonists as soon as transport can be arranged. Lassen, I'll send that at once. Come in. What is it, Barrack?
I don't know. There are changes in the intercept screens.
What kind of changes?
Well, for one thing, there's a temperature drop in the upper quadrant of the creature. Then it seems to be changing its surroundings.
I'll come out and have a look.
There, you see? There are other macro creatures in the room now. There. One of them has a black robe.
Well, what's so alarming?
The speech pattern of the black robe creature is unlike anything we've ever heard before.
Turn on auditory intercept. Strange.
Look at the temperature drop up there.
Let me try touching the creature's cranial region. That explains the temperature drop. The massive thread-like growth has been entirely removed.
Look, the black-robed one has moved away. Now another creature approaches.
Our host entity is being seated. Now, bands are being placed on its wrists and legs. That's interesting.
I don't like it.
What are you worried about?
I don't know. It frightens me.
Look. Now a dome-like object is being lowered over the creature's head, a great cupola.
It's cutting out the light.
Turn up the auditory.
I don't want to die, Warden. Not in the electric chair.
I wish we knew the speech code. Well, another few days and we'll have it broken. Then, total victory will be ours. Total victory.
What's happening now, Zerding?
I don't know. Everything is quiet. The creature is waiting in the dark for something to happen, apparently. I wonder what.
Fred Collins again. I'll have a word about our cast on X-1 in a moment. You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Galaxy Magazine science editor Willie Lay discusses medical problems of space travel in the current issue of Galaxy. Read Willie Lay's article as well as the many thought-provoking stories similar to tonight's tale of fiction based on facts of the future. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Shock Troop, a story from the pages of Galaxy, written by Daniel Gallion and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in our cast were Bernard Lenrow as Commander Lassen, Edwin Cooper as Perrock, John Thomas as Mandor, Ralph Camargo as Sam, and Roger DeKoven was the narrator. This is Fred Collins speaking. X-1 was directed by George Boutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Walter O'Keefe is your guide to new worlds of nighttime entertainment on Nightline, tonight over most of these NBC radio stations.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company presents The Haunted Corpse by Frederick Pohl.
It was 2,200 hours when my task force of 135 picked men and a wax stenographer, all fully equipped for any emergency, surrounded the big house. Just as I stepped out of my Jeep, the old boy himself came storming out of the house with fire in his eye. While he was still ranting and raving, I gave him a soft salute and waited for him to finish.
Go on, get the whole bunch of you. This is private property and you're trespassing. I won't have it, you hear? Now go on, get out.
I'm Colonel Windermere, sir. My orders are to establish a security cordon around your laboratories. Here you are, Dr. Horn. Your copy of the orders.
You can take those orders. Say, who put you up to this? I know, Van Pelt. Why, that rotten, overstuffed, backstabbing monster of a...
Dr. Horn.
Oh, I know, Van Pelt. I ought to. He worked as my associate for years. But that doesn't give him the right to turn traitor and go running off to the Pentagon with a story about the Horn effect.
Excuse me, Dr. Horn. The General asked me to give you his personal assurance that my men will not in any way interfere with your work here. It's just a matter of security.
Security? Now, listen here, Lieutenant. I won't tolerate...
Excuse me, sir. It's Colonel. Lieutenant Colonel Windermere.
Colonel, General, Lieutenant, what do I care what full title you stick on your name? The Horn effect is my personal property. Not yours, not Van Pelt's, not the Pentagon's. Not anybody's but mine. You and your whole army can go plumb to the devil. Good day.
I watched the old man, he must have been all of 85, go stalking back into the house. During the night, a wire-stringing detail surrounded the whole place with 3-strand electrified barbed wire with guard towers every 50 yards. I inspected the whole establishment before breakfast the next morning. And then, satisfied that everything was in order, I ate breakfast in my tent. I was interrupted by the appearance of Van Pelt, the fat and chubby scientist who had sent the original report to Washington.
What did he say? How did he take it, Colonel? I mean, is he sore?
Sore as a boil, Doctor.
Oh. Well, you're here, so I guess he won't try anything. By the way, I didn't get a chance to have breakfast in town, and I wonder...
Oh, of course. Have some bacon and eggs.
Thank you very much. It looks delicious.
I watched him gobble up the rest of my breakfast. I was beginning to understand why Van Pelt and Horn didn't get along very well. Why Van Pelt finally went running to the Pentagon with his report. Of course, it was my job to keep an open mind, but I couldn't help thinking how I'd feel if my exec, Captain Lefferts, went over my head in that way. No, I couldn't blame Dr. Horn for being angry. At 1400, I went to see the doctor again. I brought along Corporal McCabe, my wax stenographer.
Well, what do you two want?
Good afternoon, Dr. Horn. I'm here to get your daily progress report.
Daily? You want to report every day?
Yes, sir. Refer to paragraph 8 of my orders. Corporal McCabe here is an expert stenographer. She'll take down your dictation.
Dictation? No, I won't do it. I absolutely will not do it.
You'll have to do it, sir.
Why, you and your stinking little two-bit army. I ought to... Oh. Progress report, you say?
Yes, sir.
You're going to stick to what you say?
I must, sir.
Well, I suppose I must reconcile myself to the situation. Now, exactly what is it that you want, Lieutenant?
The report, sir, and it's Colonel, not Lieutenant.
Just so. The report, all about my work, is that it?
You may speak freely, Doctor. Corporal McCabe has full security clearance.
Well, that must make her very happy. Yes, the report. Just so.
You're listening to The Haunted Corpse on X-1.
Have you ever read the want ads? Well, say one morning you pick up your hometown paper and spot an ad which reads, Wanted, for important position with fast-growing concern. Native-born American citizen, male or female, at least 35 years of age. Must be able to give proof of 14-year residence in the United States. Position of 4-year duration with possible renewal. Room and board furnished. Yearly salary, $100,000. With an additional $40,000 for travel and official entertainment, plus $50,000 for operating expenses. Summer residence furnished with paid vacation. Qualifications of applicant carefully checked before position assigned. Now, an ad sounds mighty attractive, doesn't it? But the job it describes isn't a soft one by any means. As a matter of fact, it's probably the toughest job in America, that of being President of the United States. And the first job of each president is to take an oath that he will faithfully execute the office to which he's been named and will, to the best of his ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Yes, the job of being president is a mighty important one, but preserving and protecting the Constitution is even more important, because the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. The president may veto a bill, but if Congress, by a 2/3 majority, passes the bill over his veto, it becomes a law under the Constitution, unless set aside by judicial judgment. Thus, the best interests of the people are protected. That's how your American Constitution works.
Now, back to X-1 and The Haunted Corpse.
I wasn't deceived by Dr. Horn's sudden willingness to cooperate. He was probably trying to win my confidence so they could find a way to phone his congressman and make trouble for the whole operation. But I merely nodded to Corporal McCabe, who opened her notebook and got ready to take the dictation.
Very well. This machine you see here is my polycloid quasitron. Now, to understand its operation, let me explain.
Sir, excuse me, that term...
Oh, yes. Dr. Horn, would you kindly spell those two words for the corporal?
Just so. Polycloid quasitron.
Thank you, sir.
Just so. Well, now, the various...
It was rough going for about an hour. The doctor had to pause every 50 seconds to spell a word for McCabe, who was looking more and more ill at ease. But there was one virtue to this slow pace. I was able to follow it all fairly well. And when the doctor finally stopped, I was ready to sum it up for him.
I hope, Lieutenant, that I made myself clear?
Yes, sir. In other words, you've perfected a method of electronically killing a man without touching him.
What? Electronically killing a man without touching him?
Yes, sir.
Just so, Lieutenant, just so. Will you tell me one thing? What in the sweet name of heaven did I say that gave you that particularly stupid notion?
Well, sir, that's what you said. It is also what my briefing from General Follansby at the Pentagon gave me to understand.
Oh, rubbish. Oh, I see what you mean. Just so. I confess I wondered why you're here in the first place. The government feels that this is a weapon.
Of course, sir.
Oh, well, now we understand each other. My machine renders humans into corpses. So does a chipped flint, for that matter. Yeah, but never mind. That is the aspect which interests you. Yeah. Very good. But mark this, Lieutenant. My quasitron does something no chipped flint can do. It removes from the human body that thing which possesses only a negative definition, the quantity that we'll term X, which, added to the body, produces a man, subtracted leaves a corpse. Oh, but you don't care about all that, do you?
Sir, I don't follow you.
No, you're darn right you don't. We're all corpses, don't you see? Corpses inhabited by ghosts. And there's only one man in the world who can separate the two without destroying them, and that is me. And there's only one way to do it, and that's with the quasitron. Good day, Lieutenant.
Corporal McCabe and I left hurriedly. I was ready now to make my situation analysis according to orders, but I decided to check one fact. I summoned Van Pelt to my tent that night.
No, Colonel Windermere. He's perfectly sane. Perfectly. But he is also dangerous. Particularly dangerous to me. I mean, of course, if I haven't the Army's promise of complete protection. Colonel, that bowl of fruit looks tempting. I wonder if I...
Oh, help yourself, Dr. Pelt.
Thank you. Tasty. Very tasty.
Dr. Van Pelt, I must have the straight dope on horn. What's this ghost business?
My goodness, Colonel, that's just the old man's way of putting it. Forget the term ghost if it really distresses you. Now, whatever you want to call this thing in the body, life, intelligence, or whatnot, this is what his machine works on. If he wishes, he can replace this quantity or remove it from body to body. You might call the operation a transference. A transference of personality. Yes, that will describe it.
Well, I got rid of Van Pelt fast after that. Now I had something really exciting to look into. This old man had a machine that could take a person out of his body and put him into another one if he liked. Next morning, I demanded a demonstration, and Dr. Horn showed me how he could change a hen and a cocker spaniel with the quasitron. It was weird, but impressive and convincing.
Well, Lieutenant, do you believe in my machine now?
Remarkable. But can it work with people?
Well, indeed it can, but these ridiculous laws governing the conduct of institutions. Heaven knows I've tried to get permission for an experiment. A man dying of cancer, for instance, to exchange with a feeble-minded youth. Why not? Put the sound mind in the sound body and let the other die. But no, they won't have it.
I see. Then it actually has never been done.
No, but... Now, you're here, Lieutenant, a military man, very brave. Just so. All I've ever needed was a volunteer. Now, Van Pelt refused, the coward. So is everyone else, but now you...
Negative, sir, negative. I am not a lieutenant, doctor. I am a field-grade officer. But if there is a need for volunteers, I can find them for you, sir.
You can? You really can?
Yes, sir. I can think of several likely prospects. Give me until tomorrow.
Just so, Lieutenant. Major, Captain, then. Tomorrow will do splendidly.
My immediate job was to get the volunteers. I would require two. The first was easy. A private in Able Company. I sent for him, and he appeared looking apprehensive.
Sir, the colonel sent for me?
I did. You're the latrine orderly of Able Company?
Yes, sir, I am, sir.
Now, there's a report on you. AWOL. That means a court-martial. You're aware of the possible consequences?
Yes, sir, I am, sir.
There is a possibility that these charges might be dropped. It depends upon our finding a volunteer for a special job.
Is that all, sir? Oh, I volunteer, Colonel. When do I start, sir?
That was one. The second was a bit more of a problem. I thought at once of my executive officer, Captain Lefferts, a fine officer typical of the best leadership type. He had just been married, and he had no desire to be transferred to Saudi Arabia.
Let me get this straight, Colonel. Are you saying that if I volunteer for this assignment, there's a possibility my orders might be changed?
Captain, I hold your transfer orders in my hand. If you decide to volunteer, I will destroy them.
Sir, I volunteer.
So it was done. The next morning, both men were strapped into Horn's infernal machine. There was a great crackling and sparking.
There. It's done.
May I speak to my men?
Go right ahead, Lieutenant.
The orderly first. You, name, rank, and serial number.
Sir? Lefferts, Robert T., Captain AUS, serial number 033396115. Oh, sir, about that transfer to Saudi Arabia.
No, that'll do. Good heavens. And now you.
Colonel, sir, I changed my mind. If I can't go back to latrine orderly, I'll take the guardhouse, sir.
It worked. At ease, men.
You really did it, Dr. Horn.
Just so, Lieutenant, just so. I really did.
Horn switched the two men back again while I rushed for the telephone. Crash priority, the Pentagon, General Follansby, priority and classified. Ask the general to stand by for scrambler. A weapon? This was far more than a weapon. We had the world by the tail. I got through to the general, and I was excited as I pointed out the implications of the device. Suppose a hostile representative visited this country, I told him. One of our men could switch places with him, and no one would ever guess. In time, we could have our men in the top positions of every government in the world. Our men reporting to us. It was the greatest opportunity any government ever had. The general was impressed in spite of himself. We arranged an appointment in the Pentagon for the next morning. As I hung up, I fingered the silver leaf on my shoulder. It would soon be a star.
Colonel!
What is it, O'Hare?
Sir, I don't know how to put this. I'm afraid Dr. Van Pelt has gone psycho, sir.
Why, Sergeant? What's he done?
He's raving, sir. He says Dr. Horn wants to live forever. He says all Horn was waiting for was to make a test on a human being. He says now you've given Horn his test, Horn is going to grab the first human being he can find and, excuse me, sir, this is what he said, and steal his body.
Great Scott! Where's Van Pelt now?
In the laboratory, sir, with Dr. Horn. Gee, is everybody around here nuts?
I saw it all in a flash. Dr. Horn had a brilliant mind, but a worn-out body. He was going to make a switch before his own aging machinery broke down. I had to stop him. Van Pelt was there literally asking for it. When I opened the door of the lab, I stumbled over Horn's body, dead. He'd already done it. Next to his body sprawled my whack, Corporal McCabe, stunned by a blow on the head as she tried to prevent the tragedy. And there at the machine was Van Pelt, or what used to be Van Pelt, striking the complicated machinery with one blow after another.
Too late, Colonel! Too late!
Don't destroy the machine! Stop!
It's too late, I tell you! Too late!
Not that I know who you are! You're not Van Pelt! You're Horn! Get away from that machine!
No! Not until it's destroyed! Destroyed! Destroyed!
McCabe, you killed him. You fool, you unutterable ass. Wing him, yes. Stop him from smashing the machine, yes, but why did you have to shoot to kill?
It seemed the best way.
You've ruined everything now. Horn's dead, and so is Van Pelt. The machine is wrecked beyond repair. Sorry, Corporal, but I'm putting you under arrest. Give me that gun.
I'm afraid not. You're fundamentally a nice guy, so I'm just going to lock you in here long enough to get away, Lieutenant.
Lieutenant? Horn! You're Dr. Horn!
Just so, Lieutenant. Just so. Goodbye.
X-1 has brought you The Haunted Corpse, a story written by Frederick Pohl and adapted for radio by William Welch. Featured in our cast were Edgar Staley as Dr. Horn, Walter Black as the Colonel, and Dean Lyman Almquist as Van Pelt. Others in our cast were Lydia Bruce, Alan Collins, Bob Hastings, and Ralph Camargo. This is Fred Collins speaking. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
We pause now for station identification.
For the second time, the Gregory party leaves Los Angeles Harbor on a cruise to the Magic Island. Only a few short months ago, Mrs. Gregory, Captain Tex Bradford, and Jerry Hall sailed from this harbor in search of a mysterious island in the South Pacific. An island on which a little white girl was supposed to be living with a strange colony of people. We know this was true, for Mrs. Gregory found her daughter Joan, now 15 years old, on the weird island where she had spent 14 of her 15 years. 2 boats were lost in attempts to escape from the island. And finally, a stolen submarine made it possible for our friends to reach Los Angeles. As they leave the harbor behind in the inky blackness of the early morning, Joan and her mother are talking in their cabin on the boat.
I did not see much of your beautiful country, Mother.
I know, Joan, dear, and I'm sorry. But Captain Bradford and I agreed that you and Jerry would be much safer with us than if you had remained in Los Angeles.
That is possibly true, and of course I am happy to be with you, Mother. But it all seems so foolish.
Foolish?
Yes.
In what way, Joan?
Anything useless is foolish, is it not?
Well, yes, but...
And this voyage is quite useless.
How can you say that, Joan? Don't you realize that we're performing a real service to the world by returning to that island and putting those scientists under control?
I realize that such might be the case if you could do it.
We're going to do it.
I am not so sure.
Now, Joan, you've spent nearly all your life on that island, and you're far more impressed with the power of those Euclidean scientists than I am.
Yet you admit that they have advanced to a degree that your world cannot hope to contend with.
Of course, I admit that. But Captain Bradford knows what he's doing every time he starts out to do anything. And while taking over that island may be the biggest job he's ever attempted, we'll come out all right.
I hope so, for your sake.
Joan, dear, you're very depressed. And that's unusual for you.
I am sorry that you should see me so, Mother. On Euclidia, we are taught to display no emotion. That did not seem difficult while I was there. But after a glimpse of your world, I realize that emotions are very necessary things. It is better to feel sorrow than to feel nothing at all.
I think I understand, dear. And one of these days, we'll come back home again and stay there all the rest of our lives.
I hope so.
Oh, boy. I'm sorry. I thought this was my cabin.
That's all right, Jerry. Come on in and talk to us for a while.
I didn't mean to come busting in like that, but Captain Bradford said this was the cabin that he and I were going to use.
Well, that's my fault, Jerry. I thought this one would be more convenient for Joan and me, and I had our things brought in here.
Oh, hello, Joan.
How do you do?
Oh, what's the matter with you?
Not a thing.
Well, you look to me like everything was wrong.
Joan's feeling badly about leaving home so suddenly, Jerry, and I can't say that I blame her. We promised to show her a great many things in our world, and in less than 48 hours after landing in Los Angeles, we're leaving it again.
Yeah, I know how you feel, Joan. I felt sort of funny, too, when I had to run away without saying goodbye to Dad.
You did not see your father?
No.
Jerry, do you mean that you left on this trip without getting your father's permission?
Well, he knew I wanted to come with you, and he didn't say I couldn't. But when I went home the last time to get my clothes, well, I couldn't find him.
I'm very sorry about that, Jerry. You should send him a radio message at least. And if he doesn't want you to go, well, we'll put about and take you back to the harbor at once.
Oh, now, you won't have to do that. Dad knows I'm just as safe here with you as I would be in Hollywood with Euclideans all over the place.
How far have we come from Los Angeles?
Well, the captain said we were just 25 miles out when I left him in the radio room.
We're making good time then.
We sure are. But it's a long way to the Magic Island.
Yes, and many things may happen before we arrive there.
Gee whiz, Joan, you give me the willies.
Jerry?
Yes, Mrs. Gregory?
Why don't you take Joan out on deck? She's doing too much thinking about this cruise.
I do not care to go out on deck.
Boy, you're sure good company.
Now, Joan, dear, I want you to go with Jerry. Now, I have a number of things to do here. Putting the cabin in order, and a turn around the deck will do you both a lot of good. Then we must get some rest.
4 bells. 2 o'clock in the morning. Does that remind you of anything, Mrs. Gregory?
Well, it reminds me that it's long after bedtime.
No, I didn't mean that. Don't you remember the last time we sailed out of the harbor to look for Joan and that island? The ship's clock struck 4 bells as we left the harbor.
Why, that's right, Jerry. And a lot has happened since then.
And much more will happen before we return here.
Oh, stop that crying around, will you? Come on out on deck and we'll look at the dark.
You cannot see the dark.
Oh, maybe not. But you sure can't see anything else when it is dark.
You could see light very easily in the dark.
Now, you two stop arguing and go out.
We'll go out, Mrs. Gregory. But don't make Joan stop arguing. When she argues, I know she's all right. Come on, Joan. We'll look the boat over.
I will not be long, Mother.
Stay as long as you wish. It'll do you good.
Boy, isn't this a swell night, Joan?
It is a very dark night.
Oh, sure, but it makes me feel good to get out in the water and smell the salt air.
I am glad you like it.
Joan Gregory, you listen to me. If you don't snap out of it and hold your chin up, I'm going to quit trying to talk to you at all.
It might be as well, since you say nothing when you speak.
Oh, is that so? All right. Come on, then. We'll walk around the deck like your mother wants us to. But I won't say a word to you. Not a word. Did you hear me? I'm not going to talk to you.
Very well.
Why don't you say something?
I prefer the silence.
All right. You'll get it. Sounds sort of funny when I don't talk, huh?
I could not say. You are always talking.
What's the matter with you? You don't like it when I talk, and you don't like it when I keep still. You don't like it in the cabin, and now you don't like it out here on the deck.
That's you, Jerry. Just started out to find you.
It's me. And Joan.
You two can hear something mighty interesting. Come on the radio cabin.
What is it, Captain Bradford?
We know that girl submarine commander is following us in an Euclidean submarine. I think we're now hearing one of the scientists on the island talking to her by radio.
Gee, let's hurry up and see about it. Come on, Joan.
I think it is very doubtful, Captain.
We ought to pick up the island easy enough if their signal is strong enough to be heard in the submarine.
Oh, sure we could. Is it set on now, Captain?
Right where I heard the signals before.
Well, then let's listen in. Maybe we'll hear them again.
Was it the voice of G47 you heard, Captain?
No, it didn't sound like him, but the signal was so faint I couldn't be sure.
If it was not G47, you were not listening to the island.
Hey, he isn't the only scientist who knows how to run that transmission set.
No, but he is the only one who would be issuing instructions under these conditions.
Well, how can you be sure of that, Joe?
The Euclidean submarine which is following us is under orders now. Those orders will not be changed except in an emergency, at which time G47 would give the orders.
Well, maybe there's an emergency we don't know anything about. Maybe that girl commander is having trouble with the boat.
Might be that.
I think not. Euclidean submarines do not have trouble.
Now, wait a minute, Joan. Before you figure the captain's all wrong, why don't you find out what it is he thought he heard?
Very well.
Well, I know what I heard. That girl submarine commander was talking to one of the Euclideans, and she was being ordered to change her course.
S1 to control. S1 to control.
There she is now.
Quiet, Jerry. Well, Joan?
It did sound like the commander, and she was calling the radio control. That could mean but one thing, the main transmission chamber on Euclidia.
Commander S1 requesting control beams. Commander S1 to base control.
Well, she's not getting any action very fast.
Doesn't that sound as if she's calling the island, Joan?
It does indeed. Her request for a control beam from base control can mean but one thing. She is in difficulty or has unusual news to report.
Why doesn't someone on Euclidia answer?
There may be some reason for the signals going unanswered.
Can you think of any of the reasons?
A sudden change in plans, which will be given to her as soon as they are formulated.
But couldn't they call her and tell her that?
Certainly not.
Any way these Euclideans have of playing this game? One of their best submarine commanders asking for a radio beam. And they won't even bother to answer a signal. They make up their minds what to tell her.
S1 to Gregory Boat. S1 to Gregory Boat.
Hey, Tex, she's calling us.
Let's find out what she wants.
Commander S1 calling Gregory Boat. You will answer at once.
Yeah, she's calling us all right.
Steady, Jerry. This may be a trick of some kind. What do you think, Joan?
This is most unusual, Captain. We know that she is following us in a Euclidean submarine, but we also know that she has orders to follow us to Euclidia and do nothing to hinder our progress toward the island.
Then you don't know any more about what she might have in mind than we do.
I have no way of determining that.
Well, then let's take a chance and answer her. She might have.
S1 calling the Gregory Boat. You will answer immediately. Your safety depends on answer. S1 to Gregory Boat. Waiting.
Our safety depends on it, she said.
Well, maybe we're in some danger that she knows about.
It might be advisable to answer.
Well, I'll take your advice, Joan, but it sounds like a trick to me. Captain Bradford on Gregory Boat. Calling Commander S1. Bradford to S1. Go ahead, S1. Go ahead.
You are very slow in your response, Captain Bradford. I have information for you. Listen carefully. Do you hear me clearly? Answer.
Go ahead, S1. We are getting you perfectly. Go ahead.
You are well aware of my mission. My submarine is following you at a distance of 100 yards and at a depth of 4 fathoms.
Boy, she's close to us.
My orders are to see that you reach the island in safety. That safety is threatened. Thales on board. Personal revenge. Thales on board. Revenge. Search.
Gee, she faded out. She started to tell us something about Thales being on board a boat, and that was the end of it.
Wait for a minute. Commander S1, Bradford to S1. You faded out. Repeat your message. Bradford calling S1. Can you hear me, S1? Well, whatever happened, it sure silenced her radio set. Not a sound from her now.
Apparently, Thales is planning to take matters into his own hands. He is seeking revenge.
Revenge for what?
Did the captain not outwit him in Los Angeles?
Well, I guess I did at that. I managed to record his voice, but how could he know that?
Well, how could a lot of things happen? This is getting more mixed up all the time. Now Thales is on board that submarine with a girl planning to do something to our boat, and she tried to warn us.
Looks that way, Jerry, and from the way her message was faded out, I'd say Thales had taken command of the sub away from her.
Yeah, and she said Thales on board, and she didn't sound like she wanted him there either.
Captain Jerry!
Yes, what is it?
Her warning meant more than that. How stupid of me not to realize instantly just how great our danger was. When she said Thales on board, she meant on board this boat.
Thales is on our boat?
Precisely. Thales is on this boat.
During the time when Mrs. Gregory and her friends were prisoners on the island of Euclidia, they were helped more than once by the beautiful young girl who commands one of the Euclidean submarines. Now it seems that the girl is helping them again. As the boat carrying the Gregory party leaves Los Angeles Harbor and strikes out into the open sea, Captain Bradford receives a strange message on the boat's radio. Jerry Hall and Joan Gregory join the captain in the radio room. They hear the voice of the girl submarine commander warning them that Thales, the Euclidean electrical wizard, is on board their boat. The captain begins a search of the boat and sends Jerry to remain with Mrs. Gregory and Joan.
But, Joan, dear, I can't believe it.
I can't figure out how that guy could be on board, but the girl submarine commander seemed to be pretty sure he was.
Where could he be hiding?
The captain is now making a thorough search of the boat.
Well, this isn't a very large boat, Joan. It doesn't sound possible.
I think, Mother, we will find that the submarine commander was correct.
Those Euclideans don't make many mistakes, but there isn't much room on here for anybody to hide.
What are the accommodations?
This cabin of ours, Joan, and we're sure no one is hiding in here.
Granted.
And then the cabin that Jerry and the captain are sharing.
Well, there's nobody under my bed. I looked.
That leaves only the radio cabin, which is out of the question as a hiding place, and the small cabin shared by the engineer and cook.
That is our entire personnel?
Yep, that's all of them. The cook and the engineer stand watches at the wheel in the daytime, and Tex and I take turns at night.
So you see, Joan, with a crew of that size and barely room to accommodate all of us, the chances of some man being a stowaway are very remote.
Yes, it would be very difficult to hide on this small boat.
And there's mighty little space down below. We're carrying extra fuel drums in every place we squeeze one in. Johnson sure knows how to load a boat.
Of course, we're short-handed, but no one knows what conditions we'll have to face at the island. And we must have room for our old boat captain and engineer when we're able to rescue them.
Golly, that's right. McLeod, the Scotch engineer, and the old Yep-and-Nope skipper are still prisoners on the island.
They will not be harmed, I think.
Probably not, but they must be very worried about what's going to happen to them and what's happened to us.
Well, at the speed this boat's making, it won't be many days until they find out.
Jerry, do not allow yourself to be carried away by a false feeling of security. That girl commander said Thales was on this boat. Therefore, Thales is on this boat.
Well, he isn't here if he can't be found, Joan.
I would not depend on that, Mother.
Now, look, Joan, you're getting scared over nothing.
Well, we'll soon know what Tex has learned. Come in.
What'd you find out, Captain?
Come in and tell us, Tex.
I didn't find out a thing. I've been all over this boat with a fine-tooth comb. There's no one on board but ourselves, the engineer, and the cook.
Now, what did I tell you, Joan?
Are you quite sure there is no room for a stowaway?
It's out of the question. Remember, this boat is a whole lot too small for the trip we're making. Every spare inch of space is crowded with fuel drums. There isn't a place for a cat to hide and stay hidden.
I can believe that, Tex. And how in the world you got as much stuff on board as you did is beyond me. But if this Euclidean is not on board, what did that girl's message mean?
Oh, I think it was just done to scare us.
And you still insist that Commander is friendly toward us?
Well, I don't know.
No, I think her advice was honest enough. She may have known that Thales intended to stow away with us. We didn't get on, so we can quit worrying about it.
Captain Bradford.
Yes, Joan?
Who are the other two members of the crew?
Oh, Joan, your mother told you, the engineer and the cook.
Yes, but I mean, who are they? How long have you known them?
Why, Joan, you don't suggest
Yes, Mother. That is just what I do suggest.
I'm afraid you're way off on that, Joan. Johnson and I have known both men for years.
Golly whiskers, Joan. You don't expect to find one of those Euclidean scientists working for your mother, do you?
Is it so impossible? Mother and the captain have been associated with many men of science.
You're all wrong, Joan. But I'll get them in here. Let you question them if you want to.
I think it advisable.
Joan, you'll be very careful, won't you?
Careful?
Yes, careful about your questions. If either of these men felt they were suspected of anything, it would be unfair to them, and they wouldn't be inclined to give us their best efforts during the cruise.
I understand, Mother. I will be careful.
All right. Jerry.
Yes, sir?
Go out and send the cook in here, will you? Just tell him I'd like to see him for a moment.
Okay, I'll get him.
And you might stay there with the engineer until the cook comes back and try and act innocent.
Oh, I got it, sir. I'll send the cook right in.
Now, Joan, I'd like to add just a word of warning to what your mother told you. Both of these men have worked for us and with us for years. And they're going to be mighty sensitive about any questioning as to their loyalty to us.
I understand perfectly, Captain. Now, this cook who is coming in first, who is he?
He's Chinese, named Jim Lo. We picked him up 9 years ago when your mother and I went to the forbidden city of Tibet. He's high caste, fine family, well educated, but enjoys speaking pidgin English just to make it hard to understand him.
But you have known him for 9 years?
Yes, Joan. He's been with us all of that time. When he was not on a trip with the captain and me, he was with Johnson in Los Angeles.
If you please, let me do all of this.
Very well, Joan. Come in.
You want to see me, Captain?
No, Jim. My daughter Joan wanted to see you.
I see daughter Joan. Daughter Joan, see me. What does she want?
A long time ago, when I was a little girl, a Chinese gentleman lived on the island where my home was. I wanted to know if you could be the same. You look very like the man I know.
All Chinese look alike to blind American who can see only color of skin. I have never lived on island.
And you have been with my mother and the captain a long time?
Long time. Maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. But never see you. Never live on island. You got Chinese gentleman friend. He is very lucky have friends such pretty little girls. I do not have such luck.
Thank you for coming. You're very kind.
That's all, Jim. Here we go now.
And will you please ask the engineer to come in?
Is engineer also long time no see gentleman friend who live on island?
Oh, no, Jim. The engineer is unmistakably a Swedish gentleman.
Maybe Swedish. Very funny talk. Sometime I teach him speak English like Jim Lowe. I got him. Send him in.
Well, Joan?
No, he was not Thales.
Did you really think he might be?
I think it would be wise to suspect everyone.
But if Thales had been Chinese, wouldn't you have known that a long time ago?
No. Everyone on Euclidia wears the dark glasses which control the ultraviolet light. The color of the skin or of the hair, the sound of the voice, all those might be a part of a disguise. Only the eyes remain the same. On rare occasions, I have seen a few of the Euclideans without their glasses. I will know Thales by his eyes.
Well, you won't find out much from our engineer. He's a Swede, and a very broad one at that. He's been around us too long to have any connection with that island.
You are probably right, Captain. Nevertheless, it will be interesting to observe him closely.
I was wondering, Joan, if it might not be better to let the captain question Mr. Peterson. He can ask him a lot of routine questions about the boat, and that will give you an opportunity to study him.
Good idea.
We will try it that way.
Come in. Right on in, Pete.
Oh, I am in now.
Good evening, Mr. Peterson.
Good morning, Mrs. Gregory. Isn't anybody ever going to go to sleep on this trip?
We've had a lot to talk about, Pete, after rushing out of the harbor the way we did. That's the reason I wanted to see you. You've checked everything on board?
Oh, yeah, sure. And I don't find this hiding collar you was looking for.
Well, I'm afraid we'll have to give that up as a bad job. We had a notion that someone we didn't want was riding with us. But we'll take it for granted he didn't get aboard. Now, what I want to know is, how did your stores check?
Oh, we got stores enough to go to Australia.
Well, we've only got to go about half that far. Are you sure all the fuel drums have fuel in them?
Oh, yeah, sure, I'm sure. What else you put in oil drums except oil?
Well, we did get pretty badly fooled by one once, Pete, when we wanted oil and got turpentine. But if you say this is oil, it's oil.
Everything is just what it's supposed to be.
And there isn't any room anywhere on the boat for a man to be hiding?
There isn't room enough on this boat for the ones that's supposed to be going along. A stowaway would have to be hanging on the anchor.
Well, that seems to be that. Now, can either of you think of any other precautions we might ask Pete to take?
I'm sure I can't. Perhaps Joan. Oh, Mr. Peterson, this is my daughter, Joan.
How do you do?
Hello to you, too.
Mr. Peterson, are you sure the cook is capable of handling this boat while you are not on watch?
Jim Lowe can handle anything, Miss Joan. Was there anything else, Captain?
No, guess that's all of it, Pete. You and Jim figure out the watches, and Jerry and I'll split with you.
Oh, yeah, sure. We figure him out.
Well, Joan, you got fooled, didn't you?
I am not sure.
Huh? Why not?
Joan, dear, surely you don't believe that.
I do not know what I believe at this moment.
Now, look here, Joan. I've known that Swede a long time. While he's a swell marine engineer on small boats, that's all he is.
Well, you're all excited over nothing, Joan.
Possibly.
Couldn't you see that Peterson is exactly what he claims to be?
I was interested in his eyes. And he wears such heavy glasses that it is impossible to tell what his eyes look like. My opinion is that he knew what I would be looking for. Did you not notice that he stared at me, even though he was addressing others in this cabin?
I noticed that, but I thought it was just because he hadn't seen you before.
I should think he'd try to avoid looking at you if he was afraid you'd recognize him.
No. It is impossible to study the eyes through glasses such as he wears. But if he had turned his head, I might have seen his eyes behind the glasses from the side.
But, Joan, your mother and the captain have known Peterson for a long time.
Yes, Jerry. We've had him with us on several of our cruises.
Do you know what his activities were between those cruises?
No, not exactly. But he's one of the most popular marine engineers out of San Pedro. I suppose he's busy when he isn't working for us.
Joan, would it be possible for one of the Euclidean scientists, Thales, for instance, to maintain a regular existence here and visit the island only on occasion?
Oh, to be sure it would. One of the fast Euclidean planes could easily take him to the island during the darkness of one night.
From here to the Magic Island in one night?
Naturally. The rocket-propelled planes will attain a speed of 1,000 miles per hour.
Only a little over 4 hours from here. Think of that.
Yes, I'm beginning to think Joan may be right.
You think Peterson may be Thales?
Well, he did a pretty good job of being a blind man on Hollywood Boulevard.
Why, that's a terrible thought, Tex.
Well, it's not very pleasant to think we've got one of the Euclideans as a member of the crew.
Well, I'm not so sure about that, Captain. That girl submarine commander said Thales was after revenge. And maybe we're better off if we can keep him right here, where we can watch him all the time.
That is logical, except for the fact that one of us would have to remain awake to watch him all the time.
Well, there are 4 of us. We should be able to do that.
Well, you're not going to. You and Joan are to keep yourselves locked up in this cabin for the rest of the trip. Jerry and I will bring your food to you. And Jerry and I will take turns staying awake to watch Peterson.
What do you think he'll try to do?
If revenge is his object, he will try to prevent our reaching Euclidia.
That's a pleasant prospect. The engineer on your boat trying to keep you from getting to the point you hired him to take you to.
If Thales has his way, we will never reach Euclidia.
The program you are about to hear is largely fiction, science fiction. We make no guarantees, however, how long it will remain fiction.
Exploring tomorrow.
your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
The philosophers down the ages have hassled a long time and with many words about the good, the true, and the beautiful. The true, well, that can be defined pretty objectively. But there's a peculiar thing about beautiful. What is beauty? And in whose terms? Makes it difficult.
With the story of The Adventure of the Beauty Queen, which stars Miss Charlotte Sheffield, Miss United States of 1958.
Beauty is a much more complicated problem than the question of truth, actually. A truth is an eternal thing. If it's true, it's true, and that's that. But beauty is appropriate. It changes as the situations change. It changes with time. I wonder how our own concepts of beauty, that is, our human race's concepts of beauty, will change as time goes by. Let's suppose that a famous young woman of our time, Miss United States, if you like, is awakened in her sleep by an alien presence, a strange force she feels but cannot see. It's something she knows is there.
Who are you?
You know I am here.
Yes.
Can you see me?
No.
Nor can I see you. I am conscious I am with you.
Dreams, of course.
No, it's real.
Who are you?
A man who in your terms belongs to the distant future. I am unborn in the way you think of it. And to me, you have been dead over 1,000 years, were I back in my own orbit.
Someone's playing a joke.
No, this is no joke. But please, don't be afraid. I mean no harm.
You're dead 1,000 years. Whoever you are, what are you talking about?
Listen to me. Try to understand. I belong to a race of scientists. In simple words you can understand, we have a device which enables us to project ourselves into the past. You belong to the past. Do you understand?
Yes.
The device has made me conscious of you for a long time. I have used it to explore the past, and in these explorations, I have searched for the highest form of human beauty.
How do you know whether or not I'm beautiful if you can't see me?
The device tells me you're beautiful. Beauty, real beauty, is a force that transmits itself, that can be picked up by a form of radar. Please understand, I'm only using terms I think you can follow. In my own orbit, I would not even talk to a child in such simple terms.
Go away. Please go away.
I can't. I'm in love with you.
What?
In love with you.
In love?
Yes.
Oh.
Very much. Is it funny?
Oh, yes.
I don't think it is.
But it is.
Do women of your time always laugh at a man's love?
Oh, don't be silly. I wasn't laughing at you.
Well, then at what?
I just thought it was very funny. The idea of your being in love with a blip on a radar screen. After all, that's about what I am to you, isn't it?
Oh, no.
It must be.
No. The radar screen, as you call it, simply picked you up, pointed you out to us.
Us?
My associates and I.
Oh.
I felt very strongly drawn to you. I convinced my associates to conduct further experiments, actual contact with someone out of the past. You. I had to know you. I had to come into orbit with you.
Look, don't you think this joke has gone far enough?
I told you this is not a joke.
Of course it is.
Well, you know better.
Oh, don't you suppose I know what's going on? Well, I should have thought of it a long time ago.
What is going on?
Why, it's very simple. Someone installed a radio pickup in this room. And you're talking to me through a microphone.
Talking to you?
You are, aren't you?
Oh, no.
What do you mean, no?
I'm not talking to you in the way you think I am. I'm projecting to you.
Oh, please stop this.
It's not your voice I hear. I'm receiving impulses from you, not actual words. The device I mentioned interprets the nature of your impulses, translates them into my language. It does the same for you.
It's true. I don't hear your voice. Not as a sound, I mean.
You begin to realize.
Please stop.
No, don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. You must be insane to say that. I'm scared out of my life. I want to scream. I'm afraid to. I'm not even sure I'm awake. I'm not even sure I'm alive.
You're alive. In your century. Now, understand what I'm telling you. In a moment, you'll be drawn out of your orbit, projected into the future, into my orbit. I want to see you. I want to see if you're as beautiful as your impulses say you are. If you are, I'm afraid I'll keep you where I am in the future.
No, I don't believe any of it. You're mad. Whoever you are, you're quite insane.
Are you receiving me?
Yes.
Don't be afraid. You're in limbo, on your way into my orbit.
Exploring Tomorrow continues in just a moment.
All of us, as American citizens, believe in our inherent liberties and freedoms, such as the freedom of the individual to choose and elect his own national representatives. It has been said that there is only one ruling class in America, the people themselves, who, through their vote, have established the law of our land. The real importance of this freedom depends on our accepting the responsibility not only to know what we are voting for or against, but also to choose our leaders for the best interests of the nation. So, accept your responsibility and ensure your freedom.
Of all things men have discussed and considered today, time is the one of which we know least. We know how to travel in space, and recent physical work has indicated that actually things can travel backwards as well as forwards in time, but we know nothing about it. And one of the things that would be strange on this, how long does it take to travel through time? When you are traveling through time itself, how long does it take to go from now to then? How long was Miss United States in that limbo before she was there?
I'm talking to you. I'm projecting to you. Are you receiving me?
Yes.
Are you afraid?
A little.
Not as much as you thought you'd be.
No.
Have you any idea of where you are?
I'm in a room. That's all I know.
I'm in the next one. We're on the 500th floor of the Institute of Technical Research in the city of Columbia. In your century, I believe you called it Washington.
Washington?
You understand, this is America.
I'm glad to hear that. At least.
Yes, I can see it relieves you.
You can see me?
Very clearly.
And am I?
Are you what?
Well, what you expected me to be.
To some extent.
Do you find me unattractive?
Alien.
Alien?
Different.
Yes, I know the meaning of the word.
At first, I was conscious of a sense of shock when I first saw you.
At least you're frank.
Well, I'm a scientist.
Do you find me ugly?
I said alien. Of course, I knew you would be. I didn't expect you to measure up physically to our standards. The human form has improved a great deal since your century.
But why? Was there a reason?
Man-made reasons.
Can you tell me?
Well, it began with interplanetary wars conducted by the nations of the world. The struggle to build empires in outer space on other planets.
When was this?
Oh, not in your century. You saw only the first feeble attempts to explore space.
Yes, I suppose our attempts are feeble.
Well, the interplanetary wars did a great deal of destruction, particularly on this planet. Precious documents, books, records were lost. But there was another result. The atmosphere of the Earth became charged with radioactive matter. For a while, it looked as though the human race had become extinct, but it didn't. The human body acclimated itself to new atmospheric conditions and flourished again. But by that time, our physical form had changed. Changed for the better. And today...
Go on.
Well, today, the human form is the most beautiful creation has ever seen.
And by your standards, I am something of a shock to you.
Your physical form was, at first, yes.
Am I very different from the women here?
Very different.
To you, they're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Would I find them attractive?
I don't think so.
I might.
Oh, no.
Why not? If they're so beautiful, I mean.
Well, your conception of beauty is not ours.
I understand that, but...
But what?
I don't know. I was going to say that beauty is beauty, but that wouldn't make any sense.
No, the concept of beauty is what matters.
But you said beauty is a force. It radiates.
The inner beauty radiates.
I understand that, too.
Well, how do you think of the universe?
Oh, I think I associate it with God. I identify it with the divine mind.
I'm surprised.
The universe is a reflection of God.
Now I begin to understand why, in spite of your physical form, your beauty reached me. And it has nothing to do with your looks.
I wouldn't be very gracious if I didn't say thank you.
I'm going to keep you here, you know, if I can.
I don't think you quite mean that.
I mean it in every sense. I want you now to remember what I've said about the change for the better in human form. I'm going to open the door to your room and come in. Now, please keep in mind that I do not look as the men of your century looked, but also remember that here I'm supposed to be a reasonably good-looking fellow.
I would like to see you.
Well, you will in the next few seconds.
That which is beautiful and befitting, appropriate, depends on the environment it's in. The future people had to undergo some rather complete changes to meet the environment that, shall we say, we, their ancestors, had imposed on them. A little too much radioactivity. And that which was beautiful is no longer befitting. The thing that is now befitting we might not think of as particularly beautiful.
Is it so bad?
I'm sorry.
I should not have exposed myself to the shock you feel, to the revulsion you feel at the sight of me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I should have known.
Forgive me. I just can't look at you for a moment. I have to adjust.
There's a window behind you. You can look out.
Oh, thank you. Please, don't resent me.
No, I was just wondering if you have any idea how incredible to me your revulsion is.
Yes, I think I have an idea.
You must overlook what sounds like vanity, but I have to repeat what I told you before. I'm supposed to be more than passably good-looking.
Yes, I understand.
But you can't stand the sight of me.
Give me a moment. Are you looking at me?
Yes.
Does it still hurt you?
No. No, I'm too conscious of your inner beauty.
I'm very grateful.
I'm curious about something.
Yes?
Are you conscious of any of my impulses?
I think so.
Do you find them hostile?
No.
alien?
No,
Do they cause you any fear?
I don't think so.
Well, forgetting how I appear to your eyes, do you like me?
Yes. Yes, I think you must be a very nice person.
The curious thing is...
Yes?
I was going to say, the curious thing is I'm still in love with you.
You mustn't be.
Perhaps love is a dimension.
I don't know. I'm too confused to think about it.
Or perhaps it's an orbit we enter or leave. I don't know either. It was just a thought.
You can't examine love through a microscope, can you?
Well, it's been exposed to every kind of study for centuries. Even the people of your time knew its reactions to be purely chemical. Of course, your poets didn't agree, but then neither do ours.
Do you have poets?
Oh, yes, we have them. They resist us. They call themselves the last human barrier against science. They refuse to understand what basic science is.
What is it?
Well, isn't it man's eternal craving to find out more about the universe, or the divine mind?
Let me go back.
Go back?
Please.
How can you even want to go back? Look, what do you see through that window? Nothing but beauty. Miles of emerald green fields with cities that sparkle like diamonds rising out of them. Nothing but prosperity. Prosperity and peace. And you want to go back to your miserable century?
To my people. To my own people. I belong with them. I don't belong here.
I'll tell you something. We're being observed, listened to by my associates.
Observed?
Well, the final decision must come from them. I'm as much a part of this experiment as you are, even though it was my idea. Now that we've succeeded in drawing you out of your orbit into ours, I don't think our science will release you. We can learn a great deal from you about the things of your century. Besides, I love you. I want to keep you here.
Please! Please don't touch me! Please don't touch me! Dream. That's all it was. That's all it was. It couldn't have been anything else. It couldn't have been.
There are parts of beauty that are eternal, that are not like the physical that changes, but the beauty of a true and honest personality. This sort of beauty, that will endure. There are things that you can rely on as time goes by. Woman needs man, man must have his mate. On this you can rely. The only thing is, the definition of man and woman will tend to change with the passing of ages. But the fundamental things apply. An honest man and an honest woman. These we need forever.
Join us for a fascinating adventure in Exploring Tomorrow. Heard in our cast tonight were Brett Morrison and the real Miss United States of 1958, Charlotte Sheffield. Script was by John Fleming. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York. Guy Wallace speaking.
We pause now for station identification.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman,
strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. Superman, in the guise of Clark Kent, is now trying to unravel one of the most baffling mysteries he has ever encountered. A mystery which certainly seems to have no solution. Let's join Kent and Lois in their office at the Daily Planet immediately. A strange conversation is taking place. A conversation apparently without rhyme or reason. Listen.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean to stand there and tell me you haven't seen me in 2 days?
Of course I haven't seen you in 2 days.
Oh, uh-huh. But you were talking to me right here in this office only half an hour ago.
I couldn't have been. Clark, what's the matter with you? Why won't you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Because I can't believe it. It doesn't make sense. More than that, it's the craziest thing I ever ran up against. Half an hour ago, you sat right there in that chair, refusing to admit that something did happen to you on the train. That you did disappear off that train between Walden Junction and Metropolis.
I refuse to admit it.
You certainly did. You also refused to admit that you had made any telephone calls demanding $20,000.
But I did make those calls. They forced me to make them. They wanted the money as ransom.
Oh, you're admitting it now, all right. But you wouldn't admit it half an hour ago. Now that you're admitting all these things, you turn right around and refuse to confess that you were right here in this office half an hour ago. You're trying to make me believe that I haven't seen you in 2 days.
Clark, look, I know that you must believe what you're saying, but it isn't true. I couldn't have been here. I only escaped from that room, that locked room down near the waterfront, just half an hour ago.
And one of us is crazy. You were here in this office? Yes, by heaven, I can prove it. Just a minute. Bill! Oh, Bill! Yeah, Mr. Kent? Come in here a minute, please. Sure. Bill, 10 minutes ago, on my way in here, I asked you if Miss Lane was in her office. What did you say?
Well, I said, no, she wasn't.
And what else did you say?
What else?
Yes, what else?
Well, nothing that I know of.
Oh, Bill, think hard.
Yeah?
Didn't you say she went out just after you did and said she'd be back in a few minutes? Now, didn't you say that?
Well, not that I remember.
Now, where is all this getting us? Here I come to you for help, and you do nothing but talk nonsense to me. Clark, do you realize that I have been held for ransom? That right now the people who kidnapped me may be getting away with $20,000 of Mr. White's money?
Oh.
Wait a minute. Let me talk to Mr. White. He'll understand. He'll do something.
White? Do you really mean to tell me you don't know that Mr. White brought the $20,000 to you at the address you gave us on the phone?
He actually did bring the money?
Of course he did.
Well, he couldn't have, Clark. If he had brought it, they'd have released me. Oh, no, maybe they wouldn't have at that. But heavens, Clark, what about Mr. White? They must have captured him, too.
I don't know what this is all about, but I guess you're right, and as far as White is concerned, I haven't seen him since he left here with the $20,000. All I know is he called up and wanted $20,000 more.
Did you send it?
No. Countermanded the order, refused to let Darwin, the cashier, take it to him. Then I went down to the address you had given me. It turned out to be a theatrical boarding house run by a Mrs. Walsh.
Yes, that sounds like the place. Go on.
Well, she told me you and White were out, working on this mysterious scoop of yours, and that she didn't know when you'd be back. So I didn't wait. This afternoon I went down there again to talk to her, and the house is gone.
The house is gone?
Well, if it is the same house, the inside has changed considerably. Found an old man who claimed to be a doctor, a psychiatrist. The inside of the place is entirely different. The furniture, the pictures, everything, even the wallpaper.
Now, look here, Clark. I don't understand all this any more than you do, but as sure as I'm standing here, I do know this. I was kidnapped off that train and held for $20,000 ransom.
Yes, I know.
Mr. White is being held now.
Sure.
The address was 407 South Street. I know that definitely, too.
So do I.
I don't care whether it's a theatrical boarding house or a Siamese temple. That's the house, and we're going down there right now.
All right. We might as well start trying to clear this up someplace. Come on, let's go. Oh, excuse me, Bill.
Sorry.
No, you were still... What are you staring at me that way for?
I just got one question I'd like to ask.
All right. What is it?
Are you crazy or am I?
Oh, get out of my way. Come on, Lois. All right. Now, here here we are, right across the street from that house. Now, take a good look at it.
I have.
All right. Now, is it or is it not the house you were kept prisoner in?
It is? Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yes, sure.
Is that the house that you went to for the first time? The theatrical boarding house?
Without a doubt.
And it's the same house that you went to the second time?
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Now, check on that anyway. That at least gives us a point to come back to when we start getting all mixed up again. All right, come on.
Where are you going?
Into that house, of course.
Wait a minute, Clark.
What do you mean?
Whoever's in there, they may be killers. Don't you think you'd better call the police?
Oh, no. Oh, no. If I left here now, by the time I got back, I'm sure that house wouldn't be there anymore. The street probably wouldn't be here either. And the taxi cab would certainly have turned into a dog sled. Come on.
Oh, all right. No one answers.
Yeah, someone will. Probably won't be my psychiatrist friend. I'm sure it won't be Mrs. Walsh. I'm really very interested in seeing who it'll be this time.
There's someone coming now, I think.
Yes, now we'll see. No. No, it isn't. I am seeing things.
What's the matter with you, Kent? What are you standing there staring at me like that for?
Mr. White, I thought...
Come in, Kent, come in. You haven't even sense enough to come in out of the cold unless you're told to. Get in here.
Yes, certainly.
Well, what is it you want?
What is it?
Must be something urgent if you felt you had to come in person.
But you talk as if there was nothing wrong, as if you were all right.
Of course I'm all right.
And this room, it doesn't look like the theatrical boarding house.
Theatrical boarding house?
And it doesn't look like the doctor's office either.
Kent, do you feel all right? Are you in your right mind?
No, I'm not. I'm really mad. I know it now. Lois here said you were being held a prisoner, that you were...
Lois? Where is she?
What? Why, she was right behind me. Didn't she follow me into the house?
And how could she follow you into the house? She wasn't with you.
You mean to say Lois wasn't standing outside with me when you opened the door?
Kent, what in the name of heaven are you talking about? What's happened to you?
I don't know. I'm all mixed up and I can't understand it. It isn't like me at all. It's as if I were another person.
Something's happened to you. I can see that. Now, you wait right here. I've got just the thing for you.
Wait a minute, Chief. Wait a minute. Before you go. Weren't you being held prisoner in this house? Isn't that why you telephoned for the $20,000?
What telephone call? What $20,000?
What 20...
Kent?
You said you had something that would straighten me out.
Yes?
Well, get it, will you? As quickly as you can. I'm sure I need it now.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I can get straight on this. I've never had anything like this happen before. Usually I can see right through these things, no matter how baffling they are. But this thing doesn't seem to have any beginning, and I'm starting to wonder whether it's going to have an end. Oh, Chief.
Still waiting, young man? I thought you left a long time ago.
Mrs. Walsh, the boarding house woman.
What's that, young man?
Where have you come from? What are you doing here?
I live here. This is my house. I rent rooms to people.
This is the theatrical boarding house?
Of course it is.
Well, what happened to Mr. White?
Mr. White?
Yes.
We have no Mr. White staying with us.
No, Mr. White.
We have a Mr. Black.
Yeah, of course. Yes, you would. And now, wait a minute. Now, wait. I'm not crazy. I know that.
Oh, but you are.
You. Dr. Hendricks, where'd you come from?
I have a perfect right to be here, young man. I live here.
But this is impossible. First one of you disappears, then the other, and now you're both here.
Young man, I told you before that you're suffering from an aggravated case of false memory.
I know what
Now, you must believe me. Everything is all right.
Sure.
Everything is sane and normal, except you.
But that can't be, Doctor. I'm not just an ordinary person.
Of course you're not an ordinary person. You're quite remarkable. But even a man with your remarkable powers, Mr. Kent, has a, shall we say, a crack-up now and then.
No, listen to me.
No.
Listen to me. No, but Doctor...
You're coming into the next room with me. It's my office. We're going to have a little chat.
Look, will you...
No. Come along. I should have insisted on this when you were here before.
Doctor!
Come along now.
All right.
Right into this room. In you go.
Yes. What in the world? Mr. White. Lois. No. Okay, Dr. Hendricks. You're right.
Happy birthday, Kent.
Happy birthday.
I hope we didn't fool you too badly.
Mr. White, I don't get it. What do you mean, happy birthday?
Mr. White, I think Clark's entitled to an explanation.
Yes, and I'll give it to her. It's happy birthday for you, Clark, because today you've been with the Daily Planet exactly 2 years. And I felt that we ought to do something to show our appreciation.
Well, you certainly did. You almost drove me out of my mind.
Yes, I hope we didn't go too far with our little joke, Kent. You know, sometimes these practical jokes do get out of hand, but you have to go through with them. It was my idea. You see, ever since you joined the paper, you've been so almighty successful in solving crimes that we decided to give you a mystery you couldn't possibly solve.
You certainly succeeded. Gee, I suppose in the 24 hours I was away from this house, you repapered the room and changed the furniture and everything, huh?
That's right. A little expensive, but worth it. But now look here, everything practically explains itself. Right now, we've got a birthday cake to dig into and plenty to eat and drink. And, of course, some of the boys have to hurry back to the office. So come ahead, Kent, and cut the cake. By that time, Jimmy ought to be here with the present we have for you.
Present, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I sort of feel I deserve it after what you all put me through.
I got to hand it to you, Kent. You certainly held on to yourself with an iron hand. Superman himself couldn't have controlled his nerves better than you did.
No, I really don't believe he could have.
And so ends another Superman mystery.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. A bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hand, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Fellows and girls, don't ever get the idea there's nothing you can do to help win this war. Just because you can't join the Army doesn't mean that you can't be part of this big fight to preserve the American way of life. No, sir, not at all. There is one big, important thing you can do, and I'm going to tell you about that right now. You see, aside from the fact that we can't all be soldiers, sailors, or Marines, because we're too young or too old or something, it's necessary for a good many of us to stay right here where we are. As a matter of fact, Uncle Sam says that for every man in the armed forces, there must be 11 people back home to keep him well supplied and to see that everything runs smoothly. It's sort of like a civilian army that cooperates with the armed forces to help win this war. And that's where you come in, you and I. For we're all members of this civilian army. And the best way we can help our boys out in the front is to buy war-saving stamps and bonds and buy them regularly. Now, how does that help? Well, let me tell you. It helps our government to finance this war. It helps to buy guns and tanks and planes and all the other things the Army, Navy, and Marines need to knock out the Japs and the Nazis. For instance, every time you buy a 10-cent war-saving stamp, your dime will pay for 5 bullets. And every 5 10-cent stamps buys enough fuel oil to carry a destroyer a full mile. So you see how important it is for you to buy a war-saving stamp every time you get a dime. Now, see if you can't get Mother or Dad to give you a dime every day or every other day with which to buy war-saving stamps. Talk about this with all your friends. Ask them to buy war-saving stamps regularly. Ask Mother and Dad and all your neighbors and relatives to sign Minuteman pledges. Do all you can to build up the sale of war-saving stamps and bonds. And that's what you can do to help win this war.
And now to our story. Last week we learned how a German saboteur, known only as the Wolf, is attempting to cripple the American transportation system, so valuable in time of war. Thus far, 14 disastrous accidents have occurred on American railroad lines, all created by the Wolf. In each case, 50 feet of track had mysteriously disappeared, vanished into thin air. On the trail of the Wolf, Clark Kent prevented an accident with a Silver Clipper, cracked Midwest streamliner. But now the Wolf is about to strike again, and unfortunately, Kent has stepped into his trap. It is midnight. A 26-car troop train carrying American soldiers west has just pulled out of the terminal. In 10 minutes, gathering speed, it will roar over the mile-long St. Clair River trestle with its deep, swirling waters below. But meanwhile, a shadowed figure is picking its careful way across the trestle. Off in the far distance, the troop train's whistle is an eerie forewarning of doom. And suddenly, the shadowed figure stops and crouches low over the steel rails. Slim-fingered hands make strange, mysterious motions along the shining track. And in the heavy, dark silence, the wolf chuckles.
This time, Clark Kent won't interfere.
Meanwhile, miles away, Clark Kent, having been led to believe he is being taken to the executive offices of the C&L Railroad for an exclusive story, is riding in a car driven by one of the wolf's henchmen, a man named Keno.
How much further did you say we have to go, Mr. I don't think I caught your name.
The name's Smith. John Smith.
Oh, that should be easy to remember. Well, look, Mr. Smith, we've been driving an awfully long time, and we don't seem to be...
Here we are now. Yeah, this is where we pull in.
What's the big idea? This is a deserted dirt road.
Yeah, that's what it is, Bud. Now, this ain't no water pistol poking you in the ribs either. It's the McCoy.
Hey, who are you, anyhow?
You ever hear of the guy called the Wolf?
The Wolf?
Yeah. Well, I work for him, see? Now, relax, brother. You're getting a break tonight. I'm supposed to knock you off, but I'm no killer.
That's what you think. What about the 40-odd people who lost their lives when the Tri-State Limited jumped the tracks? That was one of your jobs. What about the 27 people who were killed when the Flying Cloud crashed?
Well, that's different.
No, it isn't. Instead of killing one, you've killed hundreds.
No, not me. The boss did it.
You're just as much to blame.
Now, pipe down, pal, or I'll put a slug in you.
Don't be a fool, Smith, or whatever your name is. The Wolf is using you as a tool. He'll double-cross you without blinking an eye. You'll be sorry when it's too late, when they strap you into that electric chair and turn on the...
Shut up.
Now, listen to me. Take my advice. Tell me where the Wolf is. What's he doing?
You can't stop this job. The train's pulled out.
What train?
The 26-car troop train.
You mean to tell me you're going to sit by and let that Nazi murderer take the lives of American soldiers?
Stop it.
Tell me what train it is. Where's the Wolf planning to wreck it? Quickly.
It's too late, I tell you. It's too late.
It's never too late. Now tell me. Hurry.
The St. Clair River Trestle.
Yes?
10 miles west of Chicago.
That's all I wanted to know. Too bad I can't stop and give you the thrashing you deserve, but that'll wait. Now, you're coming with me. Off with these clothes. There we are. That's better. Now, over my shoulder with you. Your turn to ride now, my slimy friend, with Superman. Up, up, and away!
Red cloak streaming in the wind, Superman leaps into the darkness, the limp form of Keno dangling over his powerful shoulder like a sack of wheat. Swooping down into the valley, his keen ears pick up the distant warning whistle of the troop train as it nears the St. Clair trestle.
I may be too late. Train starting across the trestle now. Down, down. Great Scott, some of the track is missing. If that train goes through, it'll drop into the river. I've got to stop it. I've got to. You, my ratty friend, can rest here for a moment. Now to brace myself. Done a lot of strange things, but I'm not sure about this. That train's coming pretty fast. I wonder, can I stop it? Can I? Well, I'll know in a moment. Here it comes. And here I go. I made it. With only inches to spare. Better make myself scarce before things begin to happen. Come on, my unconscious pal. You're going for another ride. Up, up, and away!
Leaving the St. Clair trestle behind him, Superman returns to the car parked on the deserted dirt road. Reviving Keno, he tries to force a full confession out of him.
Now listen. This is your last chance to tell the truth. What happened to those steel rails? How were they ripped up?
I don't know. I tell you, I don't know. Now, who are you and what are you wearing that costume for?
Never mind that now. What happened to those rails?
Oh, you're killing me.
Now, mate.
You're breaking my arm.
All right, then talk.
All right. All right, I'll tell you.
All right, make it fast.
Well, the Wolf had some stuff in a bottle.
Yes?
All he had to do was to rub it on the tracks, and they just melted.
What? You're lying.
No, I swear it. I swear I ain't. I seen it work all like magic. He made the stuff and it could melt anything.
All right. I believe that temporarily. Now, where can I find the Wolf?
I don't know.
Would you like some more persuasion?
No. Now, don't touch me.
Where can I find the wolf? Well, I'm waiting. All right, if you prefer the other way.
No. I'll tell.
Go ahead.
The Hotel Royal.
Yes?
Room 528.
That's better. Now, you're coming along with me.
Where?
For a little ride through the clouds.
Hey, let me down. Now, let me down.
Hold your breath. Here we go. Up, and away! A 5, please.
Yes, sir. Well, Kent, if this is a wild goose chase, your career as a newspaper reporter is over.
I assure you it's no wild goose chase, Captain Reed. Your police department would get all the credit for clearing up the railroad sabotage case.
Well, I hope you're right, Kent. Come on, let's go.
He's in room 528. That one across the hall.
Very well. Higgins, you and Blake stand on one side of the door. McCall and Anderson take the other side. Kent and I will handle the middle. All set?
Right.
Open up in there. Open up, I said. This is the police.
You won't answer.
I'll make him answer. Open up or we'll break the door down.
Get back, he's shooting.
Kent, you're hit.
No. I'm all right.
But you were standing where the bullet came through.
Well, it missed me, I guess.
You're a lucky boy. Now, look, we've got to be careful. He's in there all right, ready to kill. We don't want to run any risks.
Captain, may I be excused for a few minutes?
Oh, kind of shaken up, aren't you? Well, I can't blame you. This sort of stuff isn't up your alley. Sure, go ahead. We'll handle him. Wait for us in the lobby.
Thanks a lot, Captain. I won't wait for the elevator. I'll take the stairway down. I'll see you later.
Okay.
I guess this is far enough. Now, off of these clothes. Poor Captain Reed was worried about that bullet. He'd keel over if he knew it hit me and flattened out like a pancake. There we are. Now to tackle the wolf.
As Superman. Up with this window. Now, let's see. 5th floor. That's the floor directly above me. Room to the right of the elevator shaft. Yes, I can see it. Up! Not much room in this windowsill, but it'll do. There he is, facing the door, ready to shoot. All right, Wolf, this is the end.
No, stand back.
Not a chance.
Stand back or I shoot.
Go ahead. That's it. Empty your gun.
No, it's not possible. The bullets have bounced off your chest.
You all through? Now it's my turn.
Help! No.
Too late for help. Didn't last very long, did you, Wolf? I'll just leave you there, crumpled in the corner, until the police break in. So long, rat.
Hello? Hello, are you still with me?
Yes. Go ahead, Kent.
Here's the last part of the story. When the police, under Captain Reed, that's R-E-E-D, broke into the hotel room, they found the wolf mysteriously beaten. A supply of the chemical compound used by the wolf to disintegrate the steel rails was found in his suitcase. That's all.
Hold on, Kent. Mr. White wants to talk to you.
Okay.
Kent.
Yes, Mr. White?
Kent, you're terrific. You've got a job with this paper for life. Now, who in heaven's name saved that troop train? Nobody seems to know.
Oh, gosh, I don't know, Mr. White. It's sort of mysterious.
Oh, forget it. Now, listen to me. I've got the biggest assignment in the world for you. Something that involves the lives of millions of people. You get back here fast. Don't waste a minute.
Okay, I'll be in your office in 10 minutes.
Are you crazy? You're 1,000 miles away.
Oh, I meant, that is,
Never mind. Get here as fast as you can. So long.
Oh, I almost stuck my foot in it that time.
Yes, I'm afraid Superman almost did stick his foot in it. 10 minutes to travel 1,000 miles, well, that's traveling. Well, he probably won't make the same mistake again. In the meantime, what of this new assignment, something that involves the lives of millions of people? We know, but we're pledged to secrecy because it's the biggest, most exciting thing Superman has ever done. So don't miss the new thrilling story that begins tomorrow. Same time, same station. Tune in and follow the adventures of Superman.
Did you ever stop to think why American machine gun crews make such good scores in their battles against the Japs and the Nazis? Their teamwork, their super marksmanship comes from practice. Practice every day until they can hit the bullseye practically every time. But that much practice eats up a lot of bullets, and that's just where you come in. You buy bullets for machine gunners every time you buy war stamps. 5 bullets for every 10-cent stamp. So get behind your team by buying stamps just as often as you can. Can you think of anything more exciting to buy for your dime than 5 .45 caliber bullets? 5 bullets for American soldiers to use in protecting your home from the Japs or the Nazis. So get going. Get your stamps today and every day.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Follow the adventures of Superman tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. Blast off. -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Blasting into deep space to the planet Terra in the star system of Alpha Centauri, the Space Cadets have made a startling discovery. A satellite of Terra that is composed of 3/4 solid copper. Now, as the converted space freighter Annie Jones rests on the precious moon, Tom, Roger, and Astro wait with rising excitement for their commanding officer, Major Connell, to brief them on the most gigantic project ever attempted by man, transporting an entire satellite from one star system to another.
Major Connell's been in contact with Space Academy for the past 4 days, Tom. Talking with every big-shot astrophysicist they have.
Yeah, I know, Roger. Finding this copper satellite is one of the big discoveries of space.
Yeah, I wonder what a thing like this is worth, Tom.
Well, I don't know, Astro, but it was enough to make Thurston and Lewis almost commit murder to keep the discovery to themselves.
They should have known Major Connell wouldn't let man nor beast take over his ship.
You're blasted right, Manning, and I won't allow a space-brained cadet to neglect a prisoner in my custody. Who's on prisoner to tail this watch?
Well, I am, sir.
I might have known. Cadet Manning. One of the first things an officer of the Solar Guard learns is to take care of the needs of his men and his prisoners before himself. Did you know that?
Yes, sir. I was just going to...
Then get below and see that Thurston has his rations. And to make sure that you remember in the future, give him yours.
Give him mine?
Yes, Manning, yours. Maybe you'll think better on an empty stomach.
Yes, sir.
And all of you report to me on the control deck in 10 minutes for briefing. That's all.
Blast that character anyhow. Doesn't he ever give a guy a break?
You're lucky he didn't give you 10 demerits, Roger.
But now I have to go without a meal.
Oh, that's all right, Roger, old boy. You can live off the fat of your head.
Now, pay attention, boys, because I'm only going to say this once. As you know, the Solar Alliance copper supplies are so low that the discovery of this satellite is of utmost importance. Our job is getting it back to Earth.
Back to Earth?
Well, how can we get a satellite 10 miles in diameter through 25 billion miles of open space?
If you'd give the Major a chance, you Venusian clunk, he'll tell you.
Clunk, listen, you skinny
Right
radar.
off that space gas.
Yes, sir.
Aye, sir.
Now, to answer your question, Astro, getting it back is the trickiest part of the job.
Why not just dig out the copper and haul it back in spaceships, sir?
Too long and too costly, Corbett. We've got to take the whole thing, and we've got to do it fast. Now, listen closely. This satellite, which I've named Terra Junior, is a captive of Terra, just as our moon is a captive of Earth. And Terra revolves around its sun, Alpha Centauri. Our problem will be to use Terra's orbital speed and Junior's orbital speed in combination time them so we can use them to spring Junior loose.
Well, how do we get the orbital speeds to help us, Major?
Remember when you were kids and you tied a rock on the end of a rope and swung it around your head?
Oh, sure, sort of like a slingshot.
That's right, Corbett. Now, if you released the rope, the rock would fly in the direction it was headed when you let go.
I get it. Then the gravity of Tara is the rope holding the satellite, making it swing around.
And a reactant power unit could be the trigger to make it let go.
It's as simple as that, boys.
Well, how do we stop it after we get it rolling?
The chances of Junior hitting anything on the way home are so small it doesn't present a problem. So we just aim Junior for our solar system. Arrangements will then be made to steer it into the orbit around the sun.
Hey, that sounds pretty neat.
It is, but we only have 4 days, 5 hours, and 17 minutes to pull Junior out of Tara's grip and later the grip of Alpha Centauri. You boys will have to work like you've never worked before. You'll do things you never dreamed you could do. You'll work until your brains ache and your bodies scream. But when you've finished, you will have accomplished one of man's greatest challenges. You're going to do this because I know you can, and because I'm going to see that you do. Is that clear? Yes, right, Captain. Well done. Now, between the 4 of us, we've got to send a hunk of copper 10 miles in diameter, hurtling through 25 billion miles of space. So let's get that ball rolling. Right now.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Tom Corbett says, eat Kellogg's Pep. Roger Manning says, eat Kellogg's Pep. Astro says, eat Kellogg's Pep. Yes, all the Space Cadets are passing the good word along to you. Eat Pep and taste that swell whole wheat and malt flavor. Eat Pep and get those essential vitamins B1 and D. Eat the cereal that gives you build-up food values for strong bones and tough muscles. Here's Astro to tell you in a special interview just why Kellogg's Pep is so important to the Space Cadets.
Spaceman, when Reveille sounds at Space Academy, things start happening mighty fast. The cadets are on the go every minute right up till taps. Plenty of Kellogg's Pep first thing in the morning helps give us the food power we need to travel at full space speed. Now, those vitamins are important, too. But most of all, that swell flavor is so downright good, it's just a plain pleasure to eat every bowl full of Kellogg's Pep.
Right, Astro. And every smart spaceman will take your tip about tomorrow morning. We'll all start our day the spaceman's way with a man-sized bowl full of Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
25 billion miles from Earth in the star system of Alpha Centauri, 3 space cadets and their commanding officer prepare for an almost impossible task, transporting a satellite through space toward Earth. Now, as Major Blastoff Connell roars, cajoles, and pleads with his young spacemen, they assemble the massive information necessary for the big push through space.
I tried building that lead baffle for the uranium 5 times already, sir. I'm having trouble getting the amount of reactant power we need in a unit that small.
Maybe you're trying to make it too small, Astro. Remember, this unit has but one job, to start the reaction. When the U-235 gets hot enough, it'll start a reaction of the copper on Tara Jr. and sustain itself. Try a smaller amount of reactant. But whatever you do, keep working. Only a day and a half left.
Aye, aye, sir, but I won't guarantee it.
I don't want your guarantee. I want that unit. Now build it.
There you are, Skipper. All set. An electronic fuse that'll set off the reactant mass for initial escape velocity. And it's delivered a day ahead of time.
Good work, Manning. Excellent.
It's nothing, Skipper.
Now I want to see how smart you really are.
Huh?
I want a communications unit we can plant on Tara Jr. that'll send out a constant signal as long as it's in transit back to Earth.
In one day? Impossible, Skipper.
Cadet Manning, I didn't ask for your opinion. I asked for a signal unit.
But one day, sir, I can't. I know I can't.
Roger. Now, look, did I ever tell you that I think you have one of the finest brains for electronics I've ever known?
Thank you, sir. And come to think of it, I might be able to duplicate that new transmitter and then use some of that stuff Astro's got for power.
That's more like it. Get to it. Well, it looks like we're all set. Now, you all know your assignments. We'll take jet boats and go out in pairs, Corbett and myself, Manning and Astro. We'll set up the reaction explosives on Tara Jr. at the points marked on your maps. When you've finished, set the fuses and return to the ship. But watch your timing. If we fail, it'll be more than a year before Junior will be in the same position again. How much time do we have left, Corbett?
6 hours and 17 minutes.
Not much, but enough. It shouldn't take more than 5 hours to set up the reaction units and get back to the ship to blast off. All clear?
Right, Astro.
All right, put your spacesuits and helmets on and move out. We're going to pitch the biggest ball in history, and it had better be a strike.
Give me the fuses, Roger. The reactor's all set.
Here, Astro. Don't forget to set it for maximum time. 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Hey, you're wrong, Roger. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Listen, you ape, I built the thing. I'm telling you, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
But, Roger,
2 hours.
Okay, you ought to know. You made the fuses, but I still think you're wrong.
What's the time, Corbett?
Tara Jr. gets a big jolt in exactly 1 hour and 40 seconds from now, sir.
Fine. That gives me just enough time to notify Space Academy to get set to start receiving Tara Jr.'s radio signal. You know what to do?
Well, I don't have to do anything, sir. Roger spliced in all the fuse circuits to this clock. In 1 hour and 10 seconds, she goes off automatically.
Good. Anything done with electronics and timed properly is better than manual operation. Less chance of human error. By the Quakers of Luna, what's that?
The explosions, sir. They went off ahead of time.
But you said we had plenty of time.
Oh, we did, sir, unless...
Manning and Astro made a mistake.
We got it on the button, Astro, right on time. This baby's a perfect strike all the way home.
Manning, what time did you set the fuses for?
Why, 16 hours and 53 minutes, sir. Is there something wrong?
Yes, Manning, everything's wrong. You set the fuses an hour too soon. It should have been 17 hours, 53 minutes.
But
That's all right, Roger. We've all been working hard, and one little mistake is bound to show up in an operation like this. It's all my fault. I should have checked those fuses myself.
Well, does an hour too soon make much difference?
A lot of difference, Astro.
But how, sir?
It's like this, Corbett. I thought we had the explosions timed, so at the proper moment we'd pull Junior out of his orbit and send him into space. But by being an hour too soon, we send it into the sun instead.
But there must be something we can do to correct it, sir.
Not a thing, Corbett. Instead of supplying the Solar Alliance with copper, in another week, Tara Jr. will be hardly more than a molten piece of space junk. Stand by to blast off. We're heading home. This mission's a failure.
Honest, Astro, I've never been more miserable in my life.
Don't let it get you down, Roger. The Major said it was a mistake anyone could make, and besides...
But have you seen the way he just talks to us these past 3 days? No yelling or blasting our ears off, no demerits, nothing. He just stays in his quarters.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'd rather have him blowing his jets than the way he is now.
Tom must feel pretty rotten, too. I haven't seen much of him either.
Yeah, he's doing nothing but working. I don't think he's slept since we left.
That's all my fault. I'm nothing but a big mouth with an asteroid for a head.
Hey, where are you going?
I almost forgot. I got to give our prisoner a meal. The way I feel now, I'd like to shove it down his throat. All right, Thurston, come and get it.
Well, where's the big Manning spirit? Kind of got you boys down since that loudmouth Connell failed on your little mission, huh?
Listen, you space crawler, one more word and I'll come in there and pound that head of yours in a space
I
trunk.
wish you'd try it, you little squirt. I'd break you in two.
Okay, pal, I'm going to give you that chance.
Yeah, when?
Right now. Sorry about the teeth, Thurston. I forgot you had to eat.
It's a beautiful job of calculation, Corbett, but it's too risky.
I've already talked to Roger and Astro, sir, and we'd like to volunteer to try it.
That's right, sir. I'd like another chance at Tara Jr.
Oh, you would, huh, Manning? What happened to you? Was that a black eye you've got?
No, sir. I just bumped my head on the radar scope. Now, about Tara Jr.,
It's worth a try, isn't it, sir? Tom's idea sounds pretty good to me.
It is, but... go over it again, Corbett.
Junior is falling into its sun at a speed of 22 miles a second right now. But we could land on it in a jet boat. set up more nuclear explosions to blast her out of the sun's grip and on her way to Earth. We wouldn't get as much speed as before, but we'd still save the copper.
Now, let's see. We could get back to Tara in 3 days and prepare the reactant and fuses on the way. We might be able to do it, Corbett.
Why is the time figured so close, Tom?
It has to be, Astro. We know the pull of the sun is so much, and the power of the jet boat is so much. When the sun's pull becomes greater than the escape speed of the jet boat, well, you just keep going into the sun. It'd take at least 3 men to set up the explosions in the amount of time we have, just 2 hours.
Well, one of us will have to stay behind.
Hey, not me. I'm going.
All right. Now we'll draw numbers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The man who draws number 4 stays.
Well, fair enough, sir.
Wait, I'll write them on some slips of paper. Okay, you pick, Astro.
Number 2. I go.
Roger.
Number 1. I go.
Tom?
Number 4. I stay.
That leaves me to go with Astro and Roger.
But, sir,
Never mind the buts. Manning, get me a course back to Tara Jr. Astro, stand by the power deck for course change. Tom, stand by the control deck. We're going back and snatch a hot copper filling right out of the Sun Star's teeth.
Attention, space freighter to Major Connell. 36 minutes to blast off. 36 minutes to blast off.
Hello, Corbett.
Thurston!
Take your hand off that wrench or I'll freeze you with this parallel wrench.
How in blazes did you get loose?
Your buddy, Manning, decided he wanted to paste my ears back, so I let him. He was so anxious to make me lose a few teeth, he didn't notice the spoon I kept.
Spoon?
Yeah, spoon for a few teeth, a good trade. I waited for your pals to leave the ship, and then I short-circuited the lock on the cell. Now get over to the controls. We're going back to Tara.
Tara? But Major Connell, Roger, and Astro are on that satellite. If I'm not around to pick them up, they'll fall into the sun.
Well, ain't that too bad? So they're gonna fry. But if you don't start this wagon up, you're going out the airlock and freeze. Now get to work.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Say, Spaceman, how are you coming with your collection of Space Cadet picture cutouts? You know, you can get as many as 4 different Space Academy favorites, full-length pictures of Astro, Roger, Tom Corbett, and Dr. Joan Dale. These picture cutouts are swell for making Space Cadet settings. Now, just imagine one of the exciting adventures that the Space Cadets have been on. You draw a picture of it, you put the cutouts right in the setting. Well, you can even make a stage and have the picture cutouts reenact your favorite Space Cadet adventures. If you haven't got Space Cadet picture cutouts yet, you want to start your collection right away. Ask your mom to get your regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep. Look on the back of the package, and right there, you'll see your own Space Cadet cutout. It's a full-length picture made from an actual photograph. Each cutout shows you an official Space Academy uniform, too. Cut the picture out of the box, make a little stand for it, and you're all set for a Space Cadet adventure. At the same time, you'll be all set to dish out the best-tasting wheat flakes that ever got covered with milk and sugar. Pep gives you that tasty whole wheat and malt flavor that just tops everything. And remember, there's a Space Cadet picture cutout on the back of every regular-sized package of Pep. So don't delay. Ask for the Build-Up Wheat Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
In a desperate attempt to save the copper satellite from falling into the sun, Roger, Astro, and Major Connell race against time to set up additional nuclear explosions to blast the priceless moon out of the deadly grip of Alpha Centauri. But they are unaware that Thurston has escaped from his cell and has forced Tom to fly the space freighter Annie Jones back to Tara.
Keep this space wagon driving, Corbett. Open those rockets wide.
Listen, Thurston, give the fellas a break. If I don't pick them up, they'll be killed.
Oh, ain't that just too bad?
Look, I promise nothing will happen to you. We'll let you go free.
Shut your mouth and concentrate on them controls. You and Major Connell and those other cadets are the only guys who have anything on me. Now, you don't think I'm going to let you stay alive, do you?
Why, you dirty, low-down space
Get
crawler.
back to those controls, Corbett, or I'll blast you with this ray and pitch you out of the airlock, so help me.
Okay, Thurston, you win.
That's better. Hey, what are you doing?
You want more speed, don't you?
Okay, but don't try any funny stuff.
I don't see how I can. You've got me nailed with that parallel right.
Where are you going?
Just have to adjust the reaction mixture for this speed.
Oh, yeah? Well, I happen to know you do that at the main panel. Get back.
Sure, Thurston, but not before I adjust something else.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm floating.
You're a spaceman. Let's see how you handle free fall.
Hey, you little space pup, I'll freeze you stiff.
Try again, Thurston.
Hey, I'm going backward and I can't stop.
Sure, the recoil of your gun. Now I'll take over. This is what they call free fall wrestling, pal.
Let me let go.
Yeah, sure, after I do a little freezing of my own. Sweet dreams, pal. Now start praying I can pull the fellas off that satellite, because if I can't, you'll wind up frying in the sun with us.
There's only one answer, boys. Thurston's escaped and taken over the ship. I can't think of any other reason Tom would abandon us like this.
Guess you're right, sir. Boy, it's going to get pretty hot soon.
Eddie Jones to Major Connell. Come in, Major. Roger. Astro, can you hear me?
Listen, sir, it's Tom. Look, there's the Annie Jones. It's headed this way.
By the craters of Luna, he's coming back.
Roger, Astro, someone come in.
Connell to Annie Jones. Corbett, what happened?
I haven't time to explain, sir. Blast off in your jet boat. I'll pick you up.
No use, Tom. We've used all our power.
Let's stand by. I'm putting the Annie Jones on automatic and coming in for a landing.
No, Corbett. There's nothing you can do. We're too far gone into the sun's pull. You'll never blast off again.
I don't care if we all wind up cinders. I'm coming in.
Tom, unless Astro can build enough pressure in those cooling pumps to handle the emergency reactant fuel, we're done for. We'll never get off this moon.
Power deck to control deck.
Come in, Astro.
Almost ready, Major. Maximum pressure is 800. We're 778 now, sir.
Very well, Astro. Let it build up to an even 800 and blast at my command. Manning?
Here, sir.
Are we all clear?
All clear, sir.
Stand by the control deck, Tom. And if you've ever twisted those dials, twist them now.
Aye, aye, sir.
Pressure up to 791.
Give us the works, Astro.
796.
Stand by to fire all rockets.
Make it good, you Venusian clock. 799, sir. 800.
Fire all rockets. Report from power deck, sir. Acceleration normal. We're out of the sun's gravity field.
And out of danger now. Corbett, you did a tremendous job.
You're the one who got us off, sir. I just followed orders.
All right, but the log will tell the whole story. And I might add, wipe out a number of those demerits.
Thank you, sir.
Major Connell, Major.
Yes, Manning?
I just took final observations on the copper satellite. She cleared the sun and is swinging wide around the other side, heading for our own solar system.
Well, looks like that's the icing on the cake, boys. Our mission is a complete success.
But what do I do about that creep Thurston?
Nothing. He's in the brig, isn't he?
Well, not yet. I was too busy to lock him up.
It's a wonder he didn't start acting up again.
Oh, he did. But I quieted him down.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yes, sir. But I think maybe now he'd better be put in the brig. He's running out of teeth.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Tuesday, when the crew of the Polaris returns to deep space to explore a newly discovered planet and finds themselves marooned with death. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in the cast are Jan Merlin, Al Markham, and Louis Van Ruten. Today's program was written by Richard Jessup, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret! In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal all in one box. And no other raisin bran but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's because...
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are the subject of an experiment. An experiment to make you the most powerful man on earth. While if it succeeds, from that moment, you will be forever locked in a world from which there can be no escape.
So listen now as Escape brings you Irving Reese's extraordinary story, The Man from Tomorrow.
Started with a want ad in the daily paper. Wanted ex-fighter pilot must be in perfect health and prepared for rigid tests. Successful candidate will receive good pay and will be given opportunity to contribute to daring experiment and world betterment. Science Associates, 126 West Street. 126 West Street turned out to be one of those ultra-modern, super-scientific buildings. No windows, and air conditioned as cool as a north wind off an iceberg. About 60 guys had answered the ad.
Hi, Major.
Hi, Randy.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. Some of the faces were familiar, guys that had been in my fighter wing. We sat there, 60 of us, and waited. An hour. 2 hours. Nothing happened.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting out of here. This place gives me claustrophobia. Hey, it's locked. We're locked in here.
But even before this had a chance to sink in, another door opened on the far side of the room. A guy with a white mask on his face came in carrying a Thompson submachine gun.
Hey!
They all flattened on the floor except me. I made a dash for the man in the mask, but he disappeared as quickly as he'd come.
Hey, how come you didn't hit the floor? Didn't you tired of living?
He was shooting blanks. Couldn't you see? Weren't any bullets chipping anything? That was a gag.
I don't like this. Come on, let's crash the door and get out of this rat trap.
Save it, Randy. It won't do any good. They can keep us bottled up till they're good and ready to let us go. And then something else. Thick, black, acrid smoke pouring out of the air conditioning vents. And a sound from somewhere, an airplane diving. Every pilot remembers with horror the smell of burning oil from a plane out of control. It hit us way back and deep down. Some of the guys got panicky. I pushed Randy down to the floor. You get more air down here. Now relax. Then the blowers reversed. And that smoke was sucked out quickly. And a loudspeaker cut in from nowhere.
Attention, please.
Hey, quiet down, fellas. Quiet down. Take it easy.
For the past 2 hours, you have been under close observation as a necessary part of this test. You were warned in advance the test would be rigid. As you file out past the guard, you will receive a token compensation for your time and discomfort. We now ask you all to leave except the man who ran for the gunner. The door is now open. Thank you.
Looks like you got the job, Major.
Looks like I'm going to shove it right back in their faces, Randy. Well, so, yeah. So long, Randy. Take it easy.
Your name, please?
Well, I hardly expected to find a blonde at the bottom of this.
You will come with me, please.
Don't give me orders, Blondie. I just want to see the guy responsible for this. Then I'm getting out of here.
I take it you have lost interest in contributing to the world benefit.
That's what it said in the ad? Well, whatever your lofty purpose, I don't like cold-blooded cruelty.
Unfortunately, personal feelings cannot enter into these steps toward our objectives.
Then your objectives are wrong.
You will be better able to judge that when you know what they are.
I don't think I'm interested. And if I may have a personal feeling, callousness is unattractive enough in a man.
Neither your feelings nor mine will matter in this project. Major, I understand it was.
Mr. Kenman, the war is over. Miss?
Dr. Frost.
Poetic.
I beg your pardon?
Nothing. I sometimes mutter to myself.
If it is possible for you to unlock your quite superior intellect from emotional reactions common to schoolgirls and fishwives, my senior colleague, Professor Baird, and I will attempt to convince you on the only basis that it should appeal to a mature mind. Facts.
By all means, Dr. Frost. Oh, but Professor Baird, where'd you get the notion of asking for fighter pilots? Simple.
Only one man in 10,000 was able to qualify mentally and physical for fighter training. Additional eliminations due to flunkouts, mortality in training and combat brings the total to 1 in 20,000. The standards we applied during the 2 hours in which we observed your every action and reaction raises the mathematical incidence of your sensory acuity to approximately 1 in 100,000.
I'm flattered.
You'll have greater reason to be if our experiment proves successful. You will be the only man on Earth possessed of your powers. You will be the man from tomorrow.
How do you propose to go about that?
We will first show you how we've trained other individuals. Dr. Frost, will you proceed with the demonstration?
Come in, Mr. Logan. Mr. Logan, have you ever been in this part of the laboratories before?
No.
Would you describe it, please?
It is a rectangular room, 40 by 20. The ceiling is 18.5 feet high. There's a desk 12 feet from me, slightly to my right. There are 2 people seated at it. One has just risen.
That will be all. Thank you, Mr. Logan.
Well, Mr. Kenman?
Well, it would be very impressive if any schoolboy with normal vision couldn't do as well.
Agreed. Mr. Logan is totally blind.
Looking back now, I can hardly believe my own impressions. The blind man was followed by a deaf mute, then by a paraplegic who'd lost all sense of touch and smell. The demonstrations were incredible.
Not one of these persons possessed physical senses above the average. The deprivation of one sense or another, in the case of the blind or the deaf man, stimulated nature's desire to compensate for the loss.
But what are you trying to prove?
That man has powers even now that are beyond his comprehension. We wish to explore those powers. Suppose one nearly perfect man, with superior sensory perception to begin with, could develop the extension of his 5 senses to the maximum degree we've just observed. What do you think would happen?
I don't know.
Neither do we. But it is our conviction that this man would also acquire a new sense, a sixth sense, that would endow him with a power never dreamed of before. Don't you think it's a dimension worth exploring?
Maybe. How could anybody accomplish that?
By training. By producing the circumstances that surround the blind man, the deaf man, and the handicapped. You would have to agree to cut yourself off from the outside world for 3 years. You would spend 6 months living in a pitch-dark laboratory. You would sleep, eat, function in a world of darkness.
We will use various sound devices to train and measure your hearing responses. After that, 6 months will be devoted to simulating the world of the deaf-mute, and so on.
You will be paid $20,000 at the end of the 3 years. All the necessities of living will be provided during that time. Then a test will be made, and if our predictions are realized, you will be signed for an additional 5 years at $20,000 per year. Dr. Frost will be in charge of the training program. Do you wish to undertake it?
That's a pretty serious move. I'd like to think about it.
You have all the facts clearly, Mr. Kenman. We would like a decision now.
You think feeling might enter into my considerations, Doctor? That's what you're afraid of?
Afraid? Fear is merely an emotion, Mr. Kenman. I have learned to control all my emotions.
I wonder.
I beg your pardon?
I was muttering again. What I meant to say is I agree to undertake your experiment.
We will return to Escape in just a moment, but first, forest fires, 9 out of every 10, are made by man. So redouble your efforts to eliminate forest fires. Crush out every cigarette. Break matches in two and grind them with your fingers. Douse down campfires and turn them over until no ember remains. Save a fortune in property and save human lives. And now, back to Escape.
I was given 2 days to settle my affairs, such as they were. It meant saying goodbye to my landlady and packing a bag. And then I reported back to Scientific Associates, to Dr. Frost of the beautiful face and figure, all ice, and Professor Baird, tall, quiet, and clinical. I was led into a pitch-dark room, blacker than the blackest night. That was to be my home for 6 months. It had a bed, bathroom, closets. All I had to do was find them. I won't waste time telling you what that was like. Just close your eyes tight and try to find your way around a room that's familiar to you. You'll get the idea. I was still stumbling around 3 weeks later when I reported for my daily training with Dr. Frost in the adjoining laboratory, which was even blacker if possible. No.
Are you hurt?
No, you wouldn't care if I broke my leg.
There is a chair nearby.
I know, I just fell over it. No.
We can begin as soon as you're settled.
Yeah. Lucky it's so dark. I'd have to apologize for wearing my pajamas.
Don't you like dressing?
Oh, I love it. When I can find my pants.
Today's exercise will be recognition of pure tones. Here's an example. That is 1,000 cycles, or 1,000 vibrations per second, stripped of all harmonics. What would you say that was?
1,100.
It is 1,500 cycles. Now, please tell me when you begin to hear the next tone and what the frequency is.
I couldn't make the slightest dent in that glacial reserve. Tried to match her at her own game for a while, but she loved it, and I'm human. Anyway, at the end of the 6th month, I could ramble through the whole place,
and never stubbed my toe. It was amazing how you learned to sense things in the dark and what your ears could do. 800. Oh, 4,000. Out.
Good. Excellent. Mr. Kenman, your threshold of hearing is 20 decibels greater than the average ear. That's very good.
Oh, Dr. Frost, I can't see you, but do I detect a note of enthusiasm in your voice?
Satisfaction, perhaps, Mr. Kenman. The experiment
Dr.
so far...
Frost, have you ever let yourself go?
Mr. Kenman, I'm not nearly so naive as you assume. Nor have any of your innuendos or mumblings for the past 6 months escaped me. I told you in the beginning that neither your feelings nor mine would have any bearing on
You
this
haven't
project.
answered my question.
I am fully aware of the nature of biological stresses.
In a scientific way, of course.
What distinguishes man from the animal is his understanding of these stresses, but mostly his control.
Control is a traffic cop with a stop sign, Doctor, but eventually the traffic has to go somewhere.
I can understand the frustration of your masculine ego, especially in this enforced loneliness of the experiment.
Thank you.
But we have only begun. We have 2 years or more to go. The first phase is highly successful. As a scientist, I am very pleased.
Strange, my hearing is so good, and I have yet to hear your heartbeat. Then there was light again, but no hearing. They devised some newfangled earplugs, and I began 6 months of silence. 6 months of being deaf as a doorknob. Deaf, but not quite deaf, because I began to see sounds, to feel sounds, like waves against my skin. I began to hear with my body, with my pores. Have you ever touched a sound? Ever seen thunder? You get so you can look at sounds, almost see the waves they make, trembling in the air. And have you ever tried silence? Try. Not saying a word, not a syllable for an hour, or a day. I tried it for 6 months. Until all the unsaid words piled up inside my head clung like unborn sounds at the back of my throat. Whoever said silence is golden never felt the lump of lead that accumulates inside you. Silence. Then the 6 months ended, and I felt the vibrations of her footsteps down the long hall. And I saw the door opening. A split second before you would normally see it open, for my eyes were my ears, and they were a jump ahead of what they'd ever been before. I saw her lips move, and I could read every word.
In a moment, you will hear again. In just a moment.
Then she removed the fancy earplugs, and the little canyon I'd been living in widened to a continent. And then her moving lips became sounds.
Can you hear now? Can you hear me? Nod to me or raise your finger when you can hear the sound of my voice.
I heard you 5 minutes ago.
Were the plugs defective?
No, I read your lips. Incidentally, I take it it's okay for me to talk now.
Of course.
Have I been a good boy? Have I done everything you wanted?
So much so, Mr. Kenman, that we're giving you a few days' rest before we begin your training for taste and touch.
Can I do anything I want?
Anything. Within reason.
I'd like to have a drink. Strangely enough, I'd like to have you join me.
Perhaps that can be arranged.
By the way, do you have a first name, or are you only a title followed by Frost, huh? Followed by a long string of degrees?
Oh, my first name is Jessica.
Jessica? Oh, that's more like Jessica. Jessica. After all that silence, it's good just to say a woman's name.
Well, until the experiment is completely over, Mr. Kenman, it had better remain Dr. Frost.
Okay. Dr. Jessica Frost, plus degrees. But when I get to take you out for a drink as a normal human being and not as a guinea pig, let's just go to a cocktail bar where they don't cheat.
Cheat?
No. You ask for a particular brand, this bartender pours out a few drops of it and then fills the rest of the jigger with some of that cheap stuff behind the bar.
How do you know?
Oh, I've been trained in these little subtleties of life by a master mind. For one thing, I can spot the different gurgling sounds of the bottles. And then, too, I seem to have an uncanny knack these days of seeing around corners.
Good.
Well, despite the watered-down booze, I give you a toast. To you.
You've been very cooperative about this. Mr. Kenman, I want you to know that I like you very much.
Well, now I'm sure the experiment is a success because I've developed a sixth sense. I distinctly heard a lovely lady saying, "I like you very much," and that couldn't possibly have been you. I rather enjoyed the touch tests. It was one area I'd never realized held such hidden powers. After a few months, my fingertips knew the difference between crystal and diamonds. I could tell if you had a suntan merely by touching your cheek. And as for the taste test, food suddenly became a symphony concert. Sourness had many degrees. Sweetness had a range as wide as the spectrum of a rainbow. And then all of my highly developed senses brought on a new perception. Something over and beyond, something added to the rest. More than a summation of all the senses. Did you ever swerve the steering wheel of your car suddenly without knowing why, and then you realized the move saved your life? Or one day you thought of an old friend whom you hadn't seen or communicated with in years, and then you found a letter from him in the box that morning? Coincidence? Black magic? I once thought so. I didn't anymore. I had a knowledge beyond knowledge.
Sit down, Mr. Kinman.
Thank you.
Your period of training has been completed. We've taken the final tests, and we've decided to retain you. Will you execute the contract, please, Mr. Kinman? It's the arrangement as decided. $20,000 a year for the next 5 years. Is anything wrong, Mr. Kinman?
No, nothing wrong. Not now.
Mr. Kinman, what are you doing?
Obviously, I'm not signing it.
Why?
Because I'm afraid.
What is there to be afraid of?
Of myself, Professor. Of what I know now, what I'm going to know in the future. Of what you and Dr. Frost may ask me to do.
Afraid to make contribution to scientific progress, undreamed of progress?
Professor, remember the sixth sense you gave me. Do you know what I can see? I can see beyond the test tubes and the telescopes, all your theories and experiments. And I don't see one important thing. I don't see happiness. Only fear in falling buildings. That's all I see coming out of my super sense.
I suppose, then, that you think that all my work, our work, is to go to death and destruction?
It might.
That's not fair.
Isn't it? What happens if I sign the contract? Who makes the decisions?
These are things I can't honestly answer.
I know. That's what I mean. It might be out of your hands, then. Governments would pay billions for me. Our own country would guard me like Fort Knox. I would be the most valuable thing in the world. Alive, even more valuable for some people dead. But a thing, not a man. That's not going to be for me. Not that way.
All this work, everything we've done doesn't mean anything, then. It's all for nothing.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I
guess you picked the wrong man for the job.
What are you going to do now?
Pack my things, go away. I don't know where, it doesn't really matter. Jessica, I probably won't see you again before I go. Thanks for everything. And I'm sorry you feel that I've let you down. So long.
I was just going to...
Try to talk me out of it.
No. Yes, I was, but not anymore.
Oh. I'm very glad you changed your mind.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. Not yet. It's kind of funny. Going out of here almost the way I came. One suitcase, hat and coat. Only difference, I've got all the knowledge of the world up here. I don't know what I'll do with it. I haven't been able to think. Not clearly. I know one thing, though. There are a lot of things I can try.
What?
Cancer, heart disease, a dozen other things.
Yes.
Might not be bad for a start.
Oh, that's not bad for a start. Do you think you might need someone to help?
Yes. Yes, I think I might.
I've talked to Professor Baird. I think perhaps he understands.
Ah, does he?
Yes. It's a little uncomfortable for a woman. I'm not supposed to say anything until you do. You already know what I'm thinking, don't you?
Let's be old-fashioned. I love you. Will you come with me?
Yes. I love you, too.
I know. Now, come on, let's go.
Under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you The Man from Tomorrow by Irving Reese, starring Lawrence Dobkin as Dix. Featured in the cast were Vivi Janis, Edgar Berrier, Kurt Martell, Jack Carroll, and Barney Phillips. The special music for Escape was composed and conducted by Leith Stevens.
Next week, we present a story of two boys and the dreadful game which they played. You might have read about it in your newspaper. It might have happened in your town. And if it did, it must never happen again.
So listen next week, when Escape will bring you Anthony Ellis's terrifying play, The Game. Would you be interested in the Alsop family, how it diminished and grew? We suspect you would be, for it's tomorrow night's Crime Classics drama on CBS Radio. Don't miss Crime Classics on most of these same stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking. And remember, Bill Cullen's Walk a Mile show is heard every Monday evening on the CBS Radio Network.
Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa, Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and Nestle's chocolate bars now present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are in their spaceship approaching a planet in a remote solar system.
Commander, where did that thing come from? It's a glowing outfit. It's headed right toward us. A meteor. Meteors don't glow in space. It's getting brighter. It's a ball of fire. There's another one. Where in the universe are they coming from? It's a weapon. A weapon? And it's some of Makor's work. Right. He's trying to make good his threat to destroy us.
We'll be back in just a moment with a thrilling story, Prison Planet.
It's quicker than a jet flight. It's quicker than the speed of light. It's Nestle's Quick, the miracle product that mixes so quick it gives you chocolate milk in seconds. Fellas and girls, have you tried instant Nestle's Quick? Nothing was ever so speedy. Here's all you have to do to get perfect chocolate milk. First, pour out your big, cold, frosty glass of milk, then add 2 teaspoons of Nestle's Quick. That's right, you pour the milk first, then you add Quick. Spoon it around once or twice, and there's your chocolate milk. Why, it practically makes itself. And wait till you taste that flavor. Quick is just like those great Nestle's chocolate bars. Yes, sir, it's got that special Nestle's chocolate flavor, that special Nestle's chocolate richness, that special Nestle's chocolate smoothness. It's a real soda fountain treat right in your own home. You're going to love having wonderful Nestle's Quick with meals, for snacks, and before bedtime. And you can tell Mom that Quick is good for you because it's fortified with vitamin D. And the more Quick you drink, the more milk you drink. So Mom's sure to approve. Ask her to get that big brown and yellow can of Nestle's Quick. And then you can join all the Space Patrollers in the most delicious, most chocolate, quickest treat in the universe. That's Q-U-I-K, Nestle's Quick.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, Prison Planet. Buzz and Happy have returned to the Graxock star system 500,000 light years from the United Planets to search for the one remaining pilot of an ill-fated expedition. 3 other pilots have already been found and have returned safely to Terra. Buzz and Happy realize that every moment spent in the unfriendly galaxy means increased peril, for Makor, guardian of the star system, has sworn to destroy them. While Happy watches the viewscopes for unfriendly ships, Buzz makes repeated attempts to contact the missing Space Patrol pilot by spacephone.
Commander Corey aboard Terra 5, calling Lieutenant Stitter, Element 4 of Expedition Enigma. Commander Corey calling Lieutenant Stitter.
Lieutenant Stitter, Terra 5.
You got him. Reception is terrible. I keep watching those viewscopes while I try again. Yes, sir. There's no sightings so far. Corey to Lieutenant Stitter. Your signal is very weak. Keep talking. Repeat. Keep talking. We'll try to get a fix on your signal.
I read you faintly, Commander. Would you repeat your orders? Lieutenant Stitter requesting repeat on orders from Commander Corey.
Stitter must be thousands of DUs away. Yes, and Makor is causing the interference. That reflector field again, huh? Yes, if we don't contact Stitter soon, get into Star Drive, Makor will be coming after us. I wish we could make him listen to reason. He won't have to. He broke his word with us, and we outsmarted him and hurt his pride. He won't be satisfied until he gets his revenge. I guess there are characters like that in every galaxy. I better try to reach Stitter again. Commander Corey calling Lieutenant Stitter of Expedition Enigma.
Elsewhere in the defense headquarters of the Graxock star system, Makor, guardian of the galaxy, confers with his chief aide, Sindrana.
I've marked the star chart, Sindrana. This point indicates Corey's position. And the other intruder? The second ship is 40,000 omegas away from Corey. Its vector is indicated by this arrow.
Oh, I see. And Corey is in communication with the other ship.
To a very limited extent. Our deflector field is working quite successfully.
It may be possible to send some of our ships after Corey and destroy him before he escapes from our galaxy.
No one is going to get Corey but me. You understand? My own personal reputation depends on it. I've got the entire plan worked out. First, we will capture this Lieutenant Stitter and his ship. That will be simple. Then we can turn our full efforts into getting caught.
You say it will be simple to capture the other ship?
Yes. Look at its vector. It is heading towards Zergol.
The prison planet?
That's right. A maximum security base. A planet from which no news leaks to the rest of the galaxy, except by my authority.
Yes, but I don't see how we can possibly...
We will order this unwelcome visitor to land on Zergol.
If we do it,
I got it all figured out. Now listen. Corey can't contact Stitter, but we can.
Lieutenant Stitter, Element 4 of Expedition Enigma, calling Commander Corey aboard the Terra 5.
An urgent message to Lieutenant Stitter of the United Planets Expedition. This is Maycor, Guardian of the Galaxy. I want to help you. Please acknowledge.
Lieutenant Stitter here. You say you're the Guardian of the Galaxy?
Yes. I am in charge of defenses of this star system, the region of space you're in now. I've already had contact with your Commander Corey, and know that he's looking for you. We promise to give him all the help possible.
That's certainly welcome news. Say, is it possible for you to relay a message to my commanding officer?
No, not at present, on account of those solar radiations. I offer a suggestion if you see fit to follow it.
Since you're working with Commander Corey and I'm lost, the best thing is to let you give the orders.
Thank you, Lieutenant. It will be easier that way. I believe I know your present position. There should be a yellow star approximately 20 degrees to the right of your present heading.
It's 23 degrees by my instruments.
Good. You're near the planet Zergol. Make a landing on that planet. Then we'll notify Commander Corey where to find you.
Is the planet inhabited?
Yes, but by a very primitive civilization. And I suggest that you carefully avoid any settlements for fear of alarming the natives.
I understand.
And I'll contact you later and help you establish your exact position on the planet, so Commander Corey can locate you without any trouble.
I'm very grateful, Maycor.
Oh, this star system is always happy to help friendly visitors, Lieutenant. Now, don't be concerned about the Commander. I'll personally take care of everything. And I wish you a safe landing on Zergol. There, Sindana.
You say? I still don't like the idea of sending him to the prison planet. The prison authorities see his ship if they'll report it.
Didn't you hear me tell this stupid lieutenant to avoid all settlements? He'll never know he's landing on a prison planet until later when we have him locked up.
It would be better to do away with him. Suppose he talks.
Who would understand him without a translator? And there are no electronic translators on this prison planet. It would be foolish to do away with him, because we may need him later if we decide to attack Corey's solar system.
I realize no one has ever returned from Zergol in the 12 Darwin that has been operating as a prison.
That's right. Not even the guards and official personnel. And the pilots who bring new prisoners there are not allowed to leave the ship. They must return without setting foot on Zergol.
And you're sure there's nothing to worry about?
Nothing, Sindrana. We'll capture our lieutenant at his spaceship, and then we'll go after Commander Corey. Now come, let's go to our ship and blast off for Zergol.
Still encountering bad reception, Buzz and Happy continue their attempts to contact Lieutenant Stitter.
This is the direction Stitter seemed to be heading. He either changed vector or a deflector may cause us throwing our instruments way off. Uh-oh. There's something in the viewscope, sir. A ship? No, sir, it's too big. A giant meteor, maybe. A small moon, a satellite of that kind. Sure, that's probably it. If we can contact Stitter again, we can use this little planetary system as a reference point. Commander Corey aboard Terra 5, calling Lieutenant Stitter. Commander Corey aboard Terra 5, calling Lieutenant Stitter.
Some distance from Zergol, Maycor and Sindrana adjust a special device on their spaceophone that modifies the deflector field. A few moments later, they establish contact with Lieutenant Stitter.
Have you landed yet, Lieutenant Stitter?
No, Maycor. I'm flying at low altitude over a mountain range, looking for a place to set down.
Are you near a settlement of any kind?
I don't think so. I made a careful check by viewscope from high altitude before I came in low.
That's excellent. Now, from your spaceophone signal, you appear to be on the bright side of Zergol.
Correct. The sun is right overhead.
Have you observed the large body of water?
Yes, but it's beyond the horizon now. It's several hundreds of what we call miles to my right.
Then you are over an entirely unpopulated region, Lieutenant. Land in the first suitable place you see.
Very good, Maycor.
After your landing is secured, spaceophone me. I'll have no difficulty finding you.
How about Commander Corey? Have you contacted him yet?
No, but don't worry. One of our communication centers is certain to reach him soon. Make her out. There you are, Cinderella. That ship and its pilot are as good as in our hands.
The plan is working out very well, Maker. I confess that...
Cinderella, the viewscope.
It's a spaceship.
Yes, and on a vector towards Zirgol.
Possibly one of our own prison ships.
If there were prisoners being consigned to Zirgol, I'd known about it.
A supply ship, then?
The prison planet has been self-supporting for the last 2 Tarvins. It must be Corey. He has managed to get some sort of a fix on Stidder's signal.
He hasn't overheard our conversations with Stidder.
If he has, there's nothing he can do about it. He'll never reach Zirgol.
How are we going to stop him? It's not wise to engage Corey in combat. We've learned that fact.
We won't need to get closer to him than we are now. Not if we use the Darrow projectiles.
It's forbidden to use the Darrow projectiles,
except in the most extreme emergency. Well, isn't this one?
Yes, but you must have permission from the Supreme Council of the Galaxy. That would mean telling them there are alien ships in our star system.
I was able to obtain the Darrow projectiles without a formality. The Supreme Council will never know. Take the controls, Cinderella. I will launch the project.
Sure, that was Stidder we heard a moment ago. Can we stay on this vector, sir? Yes. It'll take us close to that planet. And that's not so safe with Makor looking for us. Maybe the planet's uninhabited. We can only contact Stidder before Makor's tipped off.
Hey, Commander, look. Where did that thing come from?
It's glowing. It's headed right towards us.
A meteor.
Meteors don't glow in space. The meteor would have registered on our viewscopes.
It's getting brighter. It's a ball of fire.
There's another one. We'll change our course.
Well, where in the universe are they coming from? All of a sudden, 2 flaming blobs appear out of nothing. Hey, they're changing course too, Commander.
Both of them swerved when we did.
Either they're attracted to us or they're under some sort of control.
It's a weapon.
It must be some of Makor's work.
Right, he's trying to make good his threat to destroy us.
They're gaining on us, sir. What are we going to do?
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, Tony, did I hear you telling the gang that you have a soda fountain at your house?
That's right, Captain Toothbell.
Well, don't you think that's exaggerating just a little bit?
Oh, gee whiz, no. My mom always keeps plenty of Nestle's Quick in our galley, and that's just like having a soda fountain, because I can make up real chocolate milk just like a soda fountain treat anytime I like, you see?
Well, I guess I can't argue with that, Tony. Nestle's Quick is the greatest treat in the universe, because it makes the greatest chocolate milk in the universe. Imagine being able to fix chocolate milk with the same wonderful, rich flavor as your favorite Nestle's chocolate bars, right in your house.
And you can fix it just as quick as that. All you have to do is pour out your glass of milk, add 2 spoonfuls of Nestle's Quick, spin it around once or twice, and it's ready to drink.
And you know, Nestle's Quick has plenty of what it takes to help build sound teeth and bones. Plenty of vitamin D.
Another thing that's good is the more Quick you drink, the more milk you're drinking. And that's great for all us space patrollers.
Yes, everybody can have a soda fountain at home by just asking Mom to bring home the big brown and yellow can of Nestle's Quick. Then, anytime you like, meals or snacks, you can fix yourself a real chocolate treat, Nestle's Quick.
If you're like all us space patrollers, you'll love Nestle's Quick. That's Q-U-I-K, Nestle's Quick. Boy, is it chocolatey and good.
And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, Prison Planet. Makor, Guardian of the Galaxy, has tricked Space Patrol Lieutenant Stidder into landing in a deserted section of Zirgol, the prison planet. When Makor and his chief aide, Cindrana, saw Commander Corey's ship approaching Zirgol, he fired 2 Darrow projectiles at the Terra 5. Buzz and Happy realize their danger, but so far are unable to escape the strange, flaming projectiles by evasive action.
You'll just have to try to outrun them, Happy.
Well, how about going into Star Drive? Maybe we'd be safe in hyperspace.
We'd be plunging into an unknown dimension with no hope of finding our way back.
Wow, those fireballs are gaining on us.
They're getting bigger, growing in size.
Maybe they'll burn themselves out before they hit us.
I'm afraid not, Happy. That weapon is some strange energy force. I think it feeds and it travels.
On what?
Microscopic particles in space, and we're a giant particle, so it's chasing us.
Well, if we can't dodge them or outrun them, what are we going to do?
Hap, what's the simplest way you know to get a bone away from a hungry dog?
Gee, I don't know. Unless it's to offer him a bigger bone.
Exactly. just what we're going to do now. Huh? We're going to offer those hungry blobs of energy a bigger bone. We're changing vector to head right for that small moon.
Will they go after the moon?
Well, they may. The moon's small, but gigantic in comparison with our ship. We're going to have to rely on instruments at this velocity.
Yes, sir.
We'll have to work fast. You'll compute the moon's orbit. We'll leave it up to the automatic pilot control to skim us close to the moon's surface.
Wow, this computer better work fast. The fireballs are really closing in.
We've done all we can, Hap. Might as well relax.
I think I must have fed the wrong data into the computer, Commander. I think we're going to crash.
We've played our hand, Hap. If we tamper with the controls now, we might really make an error.
Here we go.
You can open your eyes now.
Huh? Did we?
We missed the moon.
How about those fireballs?
They've changed course. But the moon. Look at the rear view scope.
The rockets at work. I wonder what'll happen when they collide with it. Oh, look at that. The whole moon is burning up.
It isn't the moon any longer. It's a sun. A miniature star.
Oh, that's what would have happened to us.
Look at our instruments. Picking up all kinds of wild radiation.
Yeah. I'll bet we couldn't pick up a spacephone signal from Stitter now if he was in the next compartment.
Maycor is probably a few DUs away trying to figure out what happened. We'll cross over to the other side of the moon's orbit and hide out.
Maycor, you destroyed the moon. Their projectiles destroyed the moon.
Stop gibbering. The important question is, did we get Corey?
Lieutenant Stitter calling Maycor, Guardian of the Galaxy. Lieutenant Stitter calling Maycor, Guardian of the Galaxy.
There's a lot of interference considering how close we are to the planet.
It's the Darrow radiation. Maycor to Lieutenant Stitter, have you landed?
Yes. My ship is on a grassy plain near a wooded section.
Good. Keep reporting at intervals. We will locate your exact position by your signals.
Very good, Maycor. Oh, any word from Commander Corey?
There is nothing to worry about now, Lieutenant. Just keep in contact, and we'll have you in safe hands in a very short time. Maycor out.
You'll be in safe hands, all right. The hands of the guards of the prison planet.
From his grounded ship on the planet Zergol, Lieutenant Stitter continues his periodic messages to his supposed rescuers. Finally, a strange ship appears over the horizon and lands a few yards from his own. Two men emerge from the ship and walk toward his Space Patrol cruiser. As Stitter turns to open the hatch to welcome them, a signal light flickers on the spaceophone panel and a buzzer sounds. Surprised, Lieutenant Stitter steps to the spaceophone and quickly turns to a special frequency.
Lieutenant Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Lieutenant Stitter. Urgent. Commander Corey to Lieutenant Stitter.
Lieutenant Stitter here, Commander.
Stitter, you're in danger. Blast off immediately.
Danger? Oh, there's some mistake, sir. I've been in contact with the Guardian of the Galaxy. He's ready to rescue me.
He's tricked you. Get off that planet before he lands.
But his ship has already landed. In fact, there are two men about to come aboard. They'll be in here before I can blast off.
Are they in spacesuits?
No, sir.
Then you won't need one either. Get out of that ship. Go to the cargo hold and go out through the emergency hatch. Don't try to fight them.
I think they're entering the airlock now, sir.
Hurry, Stitter. Take a minute to spaceophone. We'll find you and pick you up. Hurry out.
Strange. He's not in the control compartment. Wait a minute. Look out through the port.
He left the ship.
Yes, he's running toward the woods.
That made him suspicious.
I'll go after him. You return to our ship and wait for me.
The Terra 5 flies low over the planet Zergol while Buzz and Happy scan the ground with a telescopic view scope.
Sure hope Stitter got away. Can't we try to contact him now, sir?
All right, Happy. We want to try too soon. By now, he's either captured by Maycor or is far enough away to risk talking to us. Commander Corey calling Lieutenant Stitter. Corey to Stitter. If you read me but can't answer, we're looking for you. And we'll keep looking till we find you.
I hate to think of what Maycor will do to him if he catches him.
Judging by the fragments of spacephone conversation he intercepted, Maycor wants Stitter alive.
I sure hope so.
I'll try again. Commander Corey calling Lieutenant Stitter.
Lieutenant Stitter here, Commander. Everything's all right.
You got away from Maycor?
Yes, sir. I just ran into the woods. I'm all right now. And this is a wonderful planet. Wonderful. I never felt so good in my life.
Stitter, listen. You're still in danger. Give me a few landmarks so I can find you.
Never mind, Commander. I don't want to leave this place ever.
Stitter, what's wrong with you?
What? Nothing's wrong. Absolutely nothing. What could possibly be wrong in this beautiful, wonderful world?
Stitter, Lieutenant Stitter, you're still under orders. I demand an explanation.
Stuff to explain, Commander. I'd like it here, that's all. Thanks for your trouble, sir. And goodbye. Stitter out.
Hey, I know. Makeover's got him, and making him put on an act. That was no way. For some reason, he just wasn't going to be this. Commander, look. There are 2 ships down there. Near the edge of the wooded section. Stitters and Makeovers. Yes, sir. And beyond it, in the clearing, there's a man. Just a few scope hat. A little more. There. It's Stitter, sir. See? Space Patrol uniform. There's room in the clearing to set the ship down. While I land the ship, you check the atmosphere sample we scooped out. The air must be okay, sir. Lieutenant Stitter didn't complain about it. No, he certainly didn't. Make that test after. Yes, sir.
Using the repel array, Buzz brings the Terra 5 in on a vertical descent into the clearing. As they leave the ship and approach the lieutenant, Stitter leans against a tree and watches them with amused interest.
Lieutenant Stitter.
Hi, Commander. Hello, Happy.
Lieutenant? Now, come on, Lieutenant. Let's get into the ship.
Why is everybody so serious? This is a glorious planet. Why would anyone want to leave it?
Stitter, you're being affected by the atmosphere. There's a gas in the air that tests similar to nitrous oxide, sometimes called laughing gas. It gives you a false feeling of well-being.
Isn't it great, Commander?
Now, grab him. We'll carry him aboard. Yes, sir. Don't hurt him. Remember, he can't help the way he's acting. If we don't get aboard that ship right away, we'll be just like him.
Come on, Lieutenant. Easy now.
All 3 of you, turn around and raise your hand.
Nathan.
I warn you, don't force me to use this weapon.
Easy, sir.
Well, I see you have your translating devices with you. That will make it easier for both of us. Come on. We're going on a walk through the woods to my ship.
Why is everybody so anxious to leave this wonderful world?
Don't worry. You'll be back. You'll be here permanently, Lieutenant.
Hey, great.
You won't think it's so funny when you find out what Zergor really is. It's a prison planet.
This is a prison planet?
Yes. Some distance from here is a guarded prison. It was built by prison labor from other planets. And no one who has been brought to Zergor has ever left it.
Now, I call that a mighty nice arrangement.
For you, perhaps. But not for Corey and the cadets. After I get what information I want from them, they will be destroyed. Now, come on, all of you.
He's running things as if not happened.
Yes, sir.
First, I better relieve you of your weapons. Just keep your hands raised. That's it, Commander. Now, you cadet. And don't move or I'll bust you to bits.
Hey, Commander, how come the atmosphere doesn't make this guy good-natured? He's been exposed as long as Lieutenant Stitter. He's fighting it like we are. Stitter was caught off guard and didn't realize what was happening.
All right, let's go. Stand right where you are. Are you there with the blaster? Drop it.
Stranger has you covered, Makor. He's right behind you.
Well, that's wonderful advice, Makor. Drop it. Very well. Do you know who I am?
Of course, you're Makor, Guardian of the Galaxy.
And you, obviously, are an escaped prisoner. If you don't put down that weapon and let me go, you will be in for severe punishment. You won't think it's so funny when the guards catch you.
A guard? Makor, listen, I am a guard. Janet, the guard.
Ridiculous. Why are you wearing the prisoner's uniform, then?
I like to change off. I'm a guard, all right. It's my job to keep nosy officials like you from interfering with the happiest planet in the galaxy.
Commander, this is a madman. Help me escape from him, and I'll let you return to your home planet.
Nobody leaves Zergor. It would spoil everything.
Janet, what do you mean, spoil everything? Isn't this a prison planet?
Oh, not to us. We have plenty to eat and practically no work to do. Zergor is a paradise. I was in one of the original work crews sent here to build a prison. When we saw what we had here, we invented a little scheme to keep Zergor a paradise.
This is impossible. Zergor is a maximum security prison. The worst criminals in the galaxy are sent here.
Yes, it's our only source of immigration. If the truth ever got out about Zergor, it would be swamped with honest people. In a short time, there would be a shortage of food. Fighting, robbery, murder would be everywhere.
You mean there's no crime here now?
Why should there be? There's plenty for all. If any man has any tendency to be nasty, the effect of the atmosphere makes him a pretty jolly citizen after a few days.
I won't stay here. I can't stay here.
Yes, Makor, you're afraid the people you falsely accused of crime will get revenge. But don't worry. You'll be safe. We have a saying here that everything grows on Zergor, but hatred.
I understand the reason you want no one to leave here, but we 3 are from another galaxy. All we want is to return home. We'll never reveal your secret or bother you, I promise.
Something tells me you're sincere. But my duty to the others forces me to make you stay.
I assure you, after a while, you won't want to leave.
Well, that's not the point. We have our duty to our solar system, just as you have to your planet.
What else could you ask of life than to live on Virgo? Look around you, at the trees, the flowers, the blue sky.
Pick that weapon, Jack. Pick up your gun. Keep him covered.
Yes, sir. Quick thinking, Corey. Now I'll give this convict a lesson in respect.
Make her break it up. Let go of it.
I'll give him a thrashing, you'll remember.
No, you won't. Did he hurt you, Janet?
Not much. Thanks for taking him off me. You certainly hit him. He's unconscious.
You better watch him. His spaceship is outside the woods. He may have a partner aboard.
I know. It's in Granum. He's already been captured.
Well, my two friends and I are blasting off now. What I said before still goes. We'll keep your secret.
Thanks.
Happy, you ready?
Yes, sir. I've got all the weapons.
Lieutenant Stitter?
I'm ready, Commander. I guess I lost control for a while. Sorry.
That's all right, Lieutenant. Goodbye, Janet.
Goodbye, Commander. Good luck. Goodbye.
Come on, then. Let's get back to Terra.
But I like it here. I think I'll stay. Goodbye, Commander.
Happy, come on.
Yes, sir.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
What's new?
Nestle's new.
Nestle's what?
Coconut. That's my favorite verse, Commander, because I sure go for Nestle's great new coconut bar.
So I see. Well, you've practically gone through the entire month's supply already.
Gee, Commander, I just can't help myself. When I bite into that luscious, thick, rich milk chocolate just loaded with crisp, toasted coconut, I sort of lose my head. I got to keep eating.
I'll admit, there never has been such a delicious chocolate bar as the new Nestle's coconut bar.
Well, except maybe those other sensational Nestle's chocolate bars. The rich milk chocolate, the almond bar, and wonderful crunch.
Stop. Now you're making me hungry.
Well, what are we waiting for? Be my guest, Commander. Have a Nestle's chocolate bar. And it goes for you, too, fellas and girls. Remember, Nestles, Nestle's makes the very best chocolate.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are exploring the ruins of a lost civilization. Suddenly aware that a man is following them, Buzz pulls Happy into a dark passage.
I hope we didn't see us stuck in here. We've got the information. You can't see us in the dark passage, but we'll be here.
Oh, Commander, that big stone at the entrance. It's moving.
He knows we're in here.
Yeah, but no man in the universe could move that stone. It wastes time.
He's not from this universe, huh?
Commander, he sealed us in. We're trapped.
Be with us again next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, The Crown of Darjida. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Bela Kovach, Norman Jolly, Ken Mayer, and Tony Sides. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.